Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 121 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. We're brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, website design, Google Ads, graphic design, printing, we can absolutely help. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. Right there on the homepage, you can request a free review of your entire online presence today, and then you'll see my little face in the corner. I'll email you back a review video and tell you what you need to improve on, things that you could do yourself, and how we can help. Okay, so my name is Milton Campus. I'm a brown belt training out of South Florida. We got Bo behind the camera.
Hello.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, click the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate all of your support.
100%.
Joining us today is a John Danaher Black Belt. His name is Stephen Williams. This is his second visit on the show.
Yeah, man.
You may know him online as Steven Strangles or Steven Strangles People, right? So that's I know that's his Instagram and YouTube handle. So
It's extremely appropriate.
Very cool.
Actually strangles people.
Yeah. So let's do a couple of quick shout outs. We want to thank our sponsors, especially Sean over at Flow and Roll. Hands down the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business. I always say, don't believe us. I really mean it when I say, go to his Instagram. Me just giving him a shout out does not do him justice. Go to his Instagram at flow, _N_roll. Check out all the custom designs they do, whether it's for fighters, mostly like for academies. And you've got to find out and ask him about his pre-order program. It is a way for you to get all the gear that you need for your academy, your team, your wrestling team. He does singlets as well. Excuse me.
You're welcome.
Reach out. You can. If you want to just shoot an email, it's flowandroll@gmail.com. Again, you can go to their Instagram, send him a message, and find out, get more information on how he helps you get the equipment that you need, meaning like your gis, your no-gi sets. Very little money out of pocket. Your stuff would actually be in a pre-order, just like we would do. We've all done pre-orders for jiu-jitsu stuff. You do a nice pre-order, you can use the money that gets collected for the pre-orders to actually pay for your entire order and even get some inventory for you to keep in your school. So again, go check them out. Flowandroll.com, flow @flow_N_roll on IG. And if you're just going to go buy something on the website, so like if you want to get a belt, or you need a new gi, or you just want to get a rash guard, use code JJD to get 20% off. Okay? Thank you to the BJJ box. They are Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box. It's delivered to your door filled with premium Jiu-Jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. They find the best products out there in the world of Jiu-Jitsu and guarantee that every box, this is the box right here, right? Every box is going to be worth more than what it cost you, right? So meaning they're going to send you about 4 to 7 items each month. They've got a quarterly box, and I know that he's making some changes. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. So I know something's going to change pretty soon, but you get a beautiful box like this delivered to your door. Use coupon code JJD10. You get $10 off your first order. And again, I know we're going to have some cool announcements coming soon, so stay tuned.
Nice.
Also, shout out to Neutral Zone CBD. No matter if your aches and pains are coming from lifting weights at the gym or rolling on the mat, or really just the daily grind of life, Neutral Zone has a product for you. So you can find your Neutral Zone by finding the best products that they have for your pain wellness, so you can continue your active lifestyle. And for us, right, staying on the mats. We never want to be off the mats. You can check their Instagram out at My Neutral Zone. The website is neutralzonecbd.com, and you can use code JJD. Oh, excuse me. I was going to say, almost add a number to the end of it. Use code JJD, just JJD, for 25% off your order. All right?
Nice.
So really cool. One of our newer sponsors, Leao Optics. I was talking to one of my Brazilian training partners, and he was like correcting me on how to say it.
Leao.
He just said it the way that he said it with the accent. I couldn't match. But my favorite glasses, I actually wear these. I put them there because I actually wear these to the podcast.
You look like Mr. Cool.
You know what? I should know the name of this one. I don't know if these are
Slacker.
If this one is this, I feel like no. That's a little bit lower in the middle. I don't remember which one this one, but one of the cool things about the glasses, I actually also wear. I kept out of the 5 that they sent us to give out to the crew. I kept this pair and this one, Avore da Vida. All right, so I have those. One of the cool things, I don't know if it's on. I don't think it's on every single pair of glasses, but right, like this has like the red stripe from a black belt. You can actually get your stripe on some of these glasses. I forgot who. I think it was Clark Racy who mentioned it when he was on. So like you can actually on some of these, I believe you can actually get the stripe of your choice. So check them out. Awesome glasses. These that I have are bamboo. They're releasing some that aren't bamboo, but most of them and the classics are all bamboo. So really cool. My favorite pair of shades. You can use code JJD for 10% off your order. And again, like I said before, any of the sponsors that we're talking about today, if you go to Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram, just click the link and it'll take you right to their websites. Okay, so something new, but we got something new. So can you see the box?
Yep.
BioPro.
Yep.
So BioPro had reached out and said, hey, we're interested in sponsoring the show, but we want you'd have to be taking the stuff. I was like, you don't got to ask me twice. I was like, hell yeah. So
I shall take it.
They sent me. I got my first 2 months.
You've been taking it?
Bioprotein, BioPro, like everybody knows it by BioPro. You get these little vials. I didn't take mine today. I'm going to take this today on the show, so you see that I'm actually taking it. So this is going to help you. This is like this is like really they would call this is like a synthetic alternative to HGH, to human growth hormone, right? So like this is going to help you with anti-aging, metabolism, libido, immune system, skin, cognition. So just so you see, I've actually this is number 13 for me. This is my 13th day of taking it.
You've been slamming those, huh?
One a day. So people have been asking me like already, like we had who was on the show that Greg Lapp in our last episode. He was like, it definitely helped me with brain fog. And I was just like, that was like one of the biggest things that I need help with, the whole like searching for a word, or I can't remember the name. What's that guy's name? Like doing, like I have that. What I can tell you is since I've been taking this, probably a couple of days in, I drink minimum 4 coffees a day. I'm down to 2. I don't have that right now. I don't have that afternoon. I'm looking right at Bo when I say this. I don't have that afternoon like, ugh.
Yeah,
I might still take my nap.
The 1
I might still
o'clock crash.
Yeah, I'm not sitting there where I'm literally like my eyes are closing. Like I call that the fog. Like I'm like, man, I need to recharge.
That's the 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock crash in the afternoon. I get that.
Usually 3 o'clock. I'm taking a nap from like 3 to 3:30, and then I get back after it. I finish. I work more. I go to the gym. I go train jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be. So since I've been taking this, I am now down to 2 cups. I didn't go, well, let me cut my coffee intake down. No, I was just like, I don't need it. I'm like, like that whole part of me going, oh man, if I don't take this nap, I got to have this cup of coffee. That's kind of been going away, and I hope that continues. So we'll see. I say 13 days in, I say I don't want to say the jury's still out, but I'm feeling different, and I'm liking it. So I'm actually going to take this. I've got to hold it under my tongue for 90 seconds. They actually what they do what is really cool, Bo, and I'm going to look at it now. You get a text in the morning. Let me see my text reminding you.
Well, like a reminder?
Yeah, you get a text every morning. Really? And I think I hope I didn't delete my text. Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's a reminder to take your vial, but it also opens up to a calendar so you can, say I've taken my 13th day. But then you can also click on the timer and it'll count down the 90 seconds for you.
So it helps you keep track, helps you take it.
Yes, yeah. So a reminder so you don't forget.
That's cool.
I have, even with that, I have forgotten. You're supposed to take it in the morning on an empty stomach. So I have woken up, started having a coffee, have a bowl cereal, and be like, oh, shit, man, damn it, I forgot. So now I'm up 13. By day 13, I'm already programmed. But I didn't take it this morning on purpose so that I could take it on the show. I think I said enough about it. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to need 90 seconds, Bo. Show them the BioPro commercial, and we'll give them a little more information about this.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go.
Glug, 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 glug.
Miss your morning routine, BioPro.
Pretty cool. Check them out. You can get.
What does it taste like?
I don't want to say like a liquor or a shot. It tingles under your tongue. You definitely like feel it.
Ooh.
Especially like if you move it around a little bit, like it feels like almost like a little hot, like if you're eating something hot, maybe like you feel
like
it under your tongue,
like a spice, like ginger, almost like the way it tingles makes you tingle. Taste like ginger.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad experience. It's fine. It's like it's. But you got to you keep it under your tongue for 90 seconds.
Not like
I'll figure out
syrup.
the word, like how I would say, like what does it feel like or what does it taste like. It almost it kind of tastes like a liquor, like it's like I don't know. I'm not doing it justice, but it's not like a fruity flavor. It's just like it definitely feels like you're taking some medicine, but it's
not like drinking.
I feel like I'm doing something good for my body.
It's not like you're drinking castor oil.
No. So
cool.
We'll leave that there. So you can get $30 off an order of any of their kits.
Oh.
Where you are paying $295 or more. So right now they actually, I don't know if you go to the website. Let me pull up the website right now. I know they got a coupon there right on the website. Get $20 off there. So we're $30 off of regularly priced kits, and what that means is when I started with them or when they sent me the kit, right, they had $100 off of a kit. Yeah, so like they were already giving $100 off, so you're not going to also get the discount.
Right.
So when we say if you got a regularly priced kit or order of $295 or more, you can use code JJD and get $30 off. So that's just want to clarify that. All right. So really cool. I can also say, let me just say this last one thing about the last thing. I do feel like when I go to the gym, just my regular workouts, and again, maybe this is a little bit of the placebo effect, and I think this is a valid conversation to have when you talk about something like this. I am definitely working out harder. Like I'm like almost like you feel like you're getting stronger, so you go harder, you do more sets, more reps, and you go a little bit more. So I feel like that now.
Well, you've also been losing weight too, and that's going to increase your energy and metabolism too.
I'm down.
And maybe it has something to do
like
with
13, 14 pounds. I'm kind of like,
dude.
I kind of hit like
that's a good
224, 225. I can't go below this. I've been trying to go, so I got to get a little bit.
You're plateauing.
But again, then you start working out more.
But you're a big dude.
You put on muscle. The muscle weighs a little bit more than fat. Yeah. So like, I'm trying not to pay attention to the weight anymore. I feel or see myself getting fit when I look in the mirror, so I feel good.
Right.
So I'm not like counting the number like every day I would wake up and weigh myself. I'm not doing that anymore. So anyway, again, go check them out. It's bioprotech.com, right? Excuse me. Bioprotein Tech, my apologies. Bioproteintech.com. We call the product BioPro. Check them out. Follow them on Instagram. They have you're going to see some familiar faces like Tom DeBlas, Greg Lappin from the last show.
Nice.
Shanji Hibero, Shanji, say his name right, Shanji Hibero. He's on there. Like you probably saw him in the commercial that we just played. So a lot of famous people are taking it, and they're swearing by it. So check them out. And actually, always love the feedback. So let us know what you think. All right. So all right. Let's. I think we're ready to go. Let's get Steven in here. Let's do this.
Let's get strangled.
Steven, welcome back, brother. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
It's been a while. You got a little facial hair since last time, right?
Me and you, brother, we're looking very similar right now. Same complexion too, almost. This lighting is a little harsh.
We could be brothers, two different dads, though.
Yeah. Same mom. That's where it counts, though.
How's everything? How you been, man?
Doing really well.
Yeah.
Doing well, Milton. Growing gradually and learning a lot along the way. So it's been a fun journey, brother. How are you doing over there and down in Florida?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. We're moving into a new studio. We've got we're going to go into a podcast recording studio. So it's like I have a membership for a podcast studio now. So we're going to try that out.
It's not a makeshift studio in my apartment.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we're in Bo's. We're in an empty apartment that Bo owns. It's a gorgeous apartment overlooking Biscayne Bay, but it's like an hour drive. It's hard to get other people down here. I'm embedded in like that Coral Springs area, very, very close to American Top Team HQ.
Mm-hmm.
Like those towns are attached. I'm in Coral Springs there in Coconut Creek. So, I mean, it's like 5-10 minute drive in traffic. So, yeah, we're moving up to Boca Raton, so that's only a half hour away. And then I get more of my like training partners and people that I know locally that can come in. You know, we came down to Miami thinking we were going to be a little bit embedded in this community down here, and then things kind of went haywire in the jiu-jitsu community. We won't go too much into that. You know what's happened down here in South Florida. So that kind of like put the brakes on us, like really getting into the Miami scene. You know, we're an hour away, so the Miami scene. So we'll reset. We're going to go up to Boca. There are a couple of other fighters, actually, active UFC fighters and people in the jiu-jitsu community that do podcasts there. So we'll be able to maybe create some relationships and start to have people locally. But let's talk about you.
That's the best, you can cross-pollinate.
Yeah. You know, have people on like Mickey Gall. You know Mickey Gall, the guy.
Yeah, of course.
Right. He's for people that don't know, he's an active UFC fighter. He's the guy that fought. Who's the WWE guy that they brought over? Right.
CM Punk. He beat the shit out of CM Punk.
Yeah, right. He was the guy that was just like, I'll fight him. And then he got some momentum, and he turned out to be a good fighter. And so he records there. Something like Slick and the Slick and the Thick or something. He does it with like a comedian partner. It's actually pretty good. I've been listening to it. It's actually really, really funny. So you know, things are changing for us too, going really well. You know, thank you for putting me on to like getting on TikTok. You know,
I
right?
see you active on the TikTok.
Yeah, we're trying. I've been a little. We actually our video guy disappeared. The guy that cuts together just does our reels. He was actually like a blue belt. He's lived in Canada, and like we would do the podcast. He'd watch it, and then he'd cut maybe like 3 clips from each one, and then we have promo stuff. So he just disappeared one day. He could be dead for all I know. He has not answered a message. He has not answered an email, and I'm like, man, if you're out there, brother, Ivan, if you're out there, give me a call.
Yo, Ivan, come on, hit us up. No, but that's crazy because that's actually pretty common in the content creation world. I've had a bunch of editors just completely disappear, ghost out of nowhere. Yeah, pretty common.
I think I know I can't say that we were his first. I think maybe he messaged me. He had trained, and I think he'd gotten to a blue belt. He stopped training, but he kind of used as an in. He's just like, I know the world a little bit. And I think he was reaching out to other, I don't want to say podcasts, but other content creators in the jiu-jitsu community. So it's kind of funny because I see very similar videos and I'm like, that's got to be Ivan, right? So we never went into like who else you're working with, but I'm certain that he probably took a video of ours and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing for somebody in the jiu-jitsu world. I could do this for you, which would be smart. I know that he had gotten busy at times, so either he just got really super busy or somebody killed him. So it's one of the other.
Something happened to him.
He did a great job. I wish we had him again, but my daughter works for the company, so me and my daughter have been doing him again, and I'm trying to we're trying to outsource it, but we do it for clients as well, right? On the marketing company side of things, we're doing it for clients. My daughter does all of those. She just doesn't know the jiu-jitsu world. So he was able to watch the podcast and then cut something, and be like, oh, that's interesting. This cut makes sense. She's not necessarily there yet, so I do that. I some of them I send to her and I say, add captions, do this, do that. But I mean, these apps now, I found an app that does the captions, and actually they added this AI feature which throws in the little pictures. So if it says like box, like you say the word boxing, and then maybe there's a boxer, or maybe there's a box and you can't use it.
Is that CapCut or
Caption? It's just called Captions.
Oh, it's just called Caption. Okay.
Yeah, I use that.
Really cool.
I've been using that. So the AI feature still needs to kind of come around. So it's like if it's not perfect, you can't just like switch out one image. At least I haven't figured that out. So like you could run it, and then it runs the captions, and then you could tell it also like add these pictures or add pictures, and it just does it itself. So if you use the word boxing or vehicle or car, right, like it drops in those.
But it's
pictures,
so wild how quick things have evolved. It's just. It went from fucking non-existent AI to like say a word and we'll generate a photo for you. It's absolutely astonishing.
So let's go back. So I was saying, you were somebody that you was like, hey, get on to TikTok. There aren't a lot of podcasts on there, or maybe there weren't any at all at the time. I just looked the other day. It's like 2 years maybe. Wow. Tell everybody about like what happened with you, like people that didn't watch the first episode and new listeners, like you kind of tell everybody how you got into this content creation side. And let's, again, I've mentioned it. I have mentioned it earlier. You're a Danaher Black Belt. So,
right.
This is just so everybody knows, right? You live in this world of jiu-jitsu and MMA. So with that being said, tell everybody about kind of how you got into the content creation side of this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've basically been involved with content creation. I mean, we want to take it back. We can take it back to 2000. I was creating vlogs before vlogging was a thing on a VHS camera as a kid, running into bars and fucking doing, we looked up to guys like Johnny Knoxville and people like that. So that's where it started.
Yeah.
Then I took some sort of film classes in high school, did a little avant-garde stuff there. And then I finally got the bug being a musician. I was creating content as a musician. No one watched it. Making alternative rock and playing fucking bars in Bushwick, Brooklyn. No one was watching it. But I said, hey, I have an authority as a jiu-jitsu instructor, someone operating gyms, and obviously I have the credentials of being a John Danaher Black Belt, et cetera. So I said, hey, why don't I just show people what I do and then add my creative filmmaking component to it? And then we did really well. So we started out with just intricate leg lock type videos. Yeah. You'd see me doing all these weird things and weird leg entries. And it was popular at the time, but it was not nuanced. Like I'm looking back, I'm going to take a quick detour for a second. I'm looking back at my content, Milton, and people are still not doing what I was doing 2 years ago.
Yeah. As far as you mean the moves or the way that the content's created?
No, moves or whatever, but it's how we sell the moves. Like first, I was using GoPros to enter the legs, then shooting to third person, like just fucking fun stuff. But what I quickly realized doing the leg lock stuff and all the intricate MMA stuff is it had a strong niche audience. If you liked it, you liked it. It was high quality, whatever. But I realized that I was only touching a base of people that were already keen on the art. So I wasn't actually helping anyone. It was really just masturbation. Look at me do cool stuff and shoot it cool. No one gives a fuck. So what I ended up doing, and I talked to you extensively last time I was on about this, is I thought, how do I lower the barrier of entry for martial arts? How do I get people that don't even know what an armbar is or don't know who Renzo Gracie is, whatever, and then introduce them? So I said, oh, well, I have a self-defense background coming from Shotokan karate as a kid. So I said, let me do that. Coming from the streets of Yonkers, New York, I had a different upbringing. So I was like, let me see if I can package that in a way that's original. Yeah. So I started doing first person, third person content around self-defense. And that's when shit just went over the top. So are we talking about, like,
I remember, and I mean, I watch your stuff when you actually were filming in the streets with other people, right? Like, you know, showing punches. I remember you like in a garage and just, again, right out on the street. Is that the stuff that really kind of propelled you forward more than anything? Or is that like the first thing?
Right, because the jiu-jitsu stuff would get like, 30,000 views on TikTok, and people were like, yo, you got 30,000 views on TikTok, and no one really was on TikTok at the time doing jiu-jitsu. It wasn't that common. But then it went like 12 million views, and I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of people that don't know what the fuck is going on about martial arts. And then that was just the top of the funnel. You're a marketing guy, so you know what we're talking about. But that was just, oh, look, this is easy to digest. And then when they get into the nuance stuff, they realize that I'm a person that comes from a martial arts background that's actually have a pedigree. Yeah. So it worked out really well that way, and essentially took that over to YouTube and just exploded it over there. Yeah, because that's what you got to do if you want to make money.
Yeah, and I know that like the shorts, I wasn't doing shorts for a long time. I probably just started uploading shorts like a year ago, maybe. Not and I got to tell you, it was probably from. Who's this? Jesus, I'm always searching for names. I'm horrible with names. Who's the with the V? Gary V. Gary V. Like, I watch a lot of his stuff, and just on Instagram and stuff. And he was like, every time he mentions a platform, I'm like, okay, I got him. This guy's never wrong. And then it was like YouTube Short. He was like, be doing shorts. Get on TikTok. Get on YouTube Shorts. I got on TikTok actually because of you, and then I got on TikTok. I got on the YouTube Shorts because again, watched him talk about it. So that's really helped. That definitely, like, if you're active, you get a lot of subscribers that way. We're still a baby out there though. We're still a baby when it comes to that side. But
this is the interesting thing that happened with shorts is I started posting on shorts when it first came out, and I was only posting on YouTube long form. So I was posting like, here's how to chain a single to a double leg. Dude, when I'm telling you 300 views, 1,000 views, I'd get like a message from a random guy from California. It's like, dude, this is incredible. That single leg off the wall is fucking awesome. But that one guy was the only person that was going to reach out to me. So essentially what I realized is, oh, this is a new thing. I started posting my shorts, my TikToks and reels over on YouTube. Nothing happened, Milton. It was like this. And then all of a sudden it went vertical. Yeah. That was with leg locks. And then I started putting up the self-defense stuff. Did a few voiceovers. Went from 2,000 subscribers to 100,000 subscribers in less than a month. Wow. And then what I did is I step laddered that. No one ever taught me this. And this is what I'm saying. You motherfuckers got to be a little bit more resourceful, because the information's out there. No one's taking chances, especially in the jiu-jitsu community. They're like, oh, I'll just keep doing the same thing over and over again. This is the thing, man. I realized no one watches my long form content because obviously it sucked. It wasn't good, but it wasn't entertaining. So I said, okay, I'm going to use this short form audience and I'm going to funnel them over. So I built out the studio and I started doing this reaction style content.
I went to go, I'm like, 100,000 subscribers. Where's he at now? And I went to YouTube, and then my our trailer started to play after I went to your page. But you're at 364,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
man. And what time frame?
Oh man, that was all done pretty quickly. Wow. A year and a change, year and a half. I mean, since I talked to you, I mean, it was. Yeah. I didn't really start YouTube seriously as a entertainer until after we talked. I was at 12,000 on Instagram when we talked.
Were we in the studio? I think we were in the studio. So it's within the last 2 years. That's awesome, man. Congrats, man.
But that's incredible. But the point is, like, a lot of guys who are going to watch this is, if you're creating short form content, figure out how to build out a sort of macro situation where you can put out entertainment long form, because it does funnel, and especially YouTube now is getting even better at doing that. It's just you got to step out of your content on YouTube specifically.
The creative side of it too is like we're going to be in a situation in the next month where I'm actually going to have a content creation studio in my house, in my inside, like there's going to be a room. And then we're using the outside studio. So we wanted it to be together. I just couldn't find the right setup to make it affordable and work. We wanted to have like the podcast studio in this corner and then Matt's in this corner, where we could literally get up with a guest and be like, show what that movie you were just talking about, show me that. Or, it could be part of the show, or it could be content for later. So I'm at least going to start creating like content on the mat. But we're the jiu-jitsu dummies, so I'm not going to be showing people like, intricate leg lock videos and things like that. Like, I want to be a little silly about it. I like dickhead moves or dickhead move of the week or stuff like that. Stuff that I do that's just like considered a little dicky. Like, even when I'm playing with like, a good friend or training partner and we're playing around a little bit, the stuff that we do that's like, oh man, you caught me. Like, just want it to be a little bit more, I don't want to say tongue in cheek, but I want it to be a little bit more entertaining from that regard. But yeah, I'm gonna be able to do that. I was actually watching. I follow this woman online that does these awesome transition videos. Like, she'll be like, in shorts and a t-shirt, and then she'll do some crazy stuff, and then it's like she transitions. That was her thing. But I watched a video the other day, or last night, that said she was talking about where she started. And she was just like, I tried this, and I tried, like, she tried like videos of showing her trying on different outfits and it didn't work, and her doing her makeup and it didn't work. She goes, this didn't happen overnight. I tried all these things, nothing took off, and then she did these transition videos. And she's a very, very pretty woman, and she would do. She's Asian. She would do like these like kind of like the Japanese fans, right? Stuff like that. Like I don't know what era you would call that, but she just did like all this really like fancy stuff, and she like incorporated some of her culture and blew up for her. So it's just like, something might not, to content creators out there, the first thing might not work, or it might not take off overnight. But like you said, all of a sudden it just goes like straight line up. All of a sudden it's like, oh, that worked. So, okay, let's maybe dive into that a little bit more. But I also like the idea of like diversifying a little bit, like you're doing. So tell people like what you're doing a lot of now, which I see a lot of, like you're what you call it, like a voiceover video, like you're in the corner of the screen and you're doing like a voiceover over a video or a fight, a UFC fight, or street fight. Talk to us a little bit about how that changed and what you're doing now.
So I've done so much stuff, and what happens when you have success and you start to you monetize things, you make a good living for yourself. What typically happens is you have to figure out, are you okay being on this particular hamster wheel? Because you will be on a hamster wheel. My first hamster wheel was the self-defense guy. I could have kept doing that into perpetuity, create iterations of it, and just get millions of views, not more views than I get now. But again, as a creator, you got to think about energy leaks. You got to think about sustainability. You got to think about as you get older, like who do you really want to be?
What do you mean energy leaks? What do you mean?
Am I enjoying this?
Your personal energy.
Yeah, like what am I doing? Like I said what I had to say, so I'm moving on. But this is to your point, going back to what you said, you had that vertical growth. It's like, but that's not the end. You can look at my channel now. I've done so many different things and explore that. But right now we're doing the green screen stuff. It's low energy. It's funny. It's top of the funnel. It gets people in, and then they go to my stories and they see who I really am. Okay. They think I'm just like talking. This guy got hit with an uppercut.
Yeah.
But they get into the stories and they see, this guy is about this. He lives his life a certain way, and that's how.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit neutralzonecbd.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at thebjjbox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
We do it, but my whole mindset, Milton, has changed over the last few months as it relates to content creation. I hope to get into that a little bit more. I got some good ideas for you guys. I could drop some major monetization hacks because the game's changing right now. But
yes, please.
But yeah, for me, what I'm doing right now is really let me just say this real quick. 4 or 5 months ago, Milton, I realized I had a lumbarized spine, which I was born with. Not a big deal, competed. Now, I was lifting about 1.5 years ago in my gym. My back gave out. I said, what the fuck is this? I've been injured a million times. Torn ACLs, all that. Then I'm like, I'm progressively getting worse. It's becoming arthritic and it's pinching on a nerve. So I basically had to stop doing everything. I ballooned up to a heavyweight. I lost all of my physicality. I couldn't sit up straight. I was fat. If you go back to my video 7 months ago, my face was round. I was completely deconditioned, miserable. I had made all this money. I had grown tremendously, but my body completely failed me. So basically about 6 months ago, I had to reconstruct my body. And now you're going to start to see the content at the top of the funnel start to mirror the things I had to develop in my brain and my body to come back from that, because it was really, really difficult. Right now, I'm in a weird middle zone with my content where it's like, we're just having fun.
So are you able to train now? Are you training?
Oh yeah. If you check my stories, I'm moving like I was 19 again. I'm in pain, and I have my pain. I'm not healed 100%. I might never be healed. I had 4 back procedures this year alone.
Wow.
So it ain't easy.
I was going to ask whether you had like surgeries or something like that.
Yeah, I had to get a bunch of stuff done to get my back repaired, but I started building it back. like I said, I'm wrestling with young kids, getting fighters ready for fights. I feel really good in that regard. Wow. And like I said, now it's about how can I give back, because I've learned a lot about myself in this process. And now I'm figuring out how can I create a, not to repeat this fucking phrase again, but a top of the funnel piece of content that actually helps people.
Yeah.
And that's also entertaining, but that's not just like, you know, whatever, green screen content or whatever.
I remember when we spoke, we were talking about sponsors. I think maybe we said something like, hey, you want to shout out your sponsors? And like, oh, I don't have any sponsors yet. You were just thinking about it, or you were entertaining them. I remember you saying something along the lines of like, I really have to use it and like it and want to put, you know, my name behind it.
Yeah.
Talk to us about, you said a couple of times, like, making about monetization and making money. Are you making money from those kinds of sponsorships, or can you make money from creating content? Because let me just add, I see a lot of videos sometimes of people showing their like, oh, I made, you know, Instagram cut this and Instagram cut that and Facebook only, or, you know, YouTube only gives me this. I'm like, man, can you not make money? Because it's sponsorships for us. Like, you know, we're not getting anything significant from out there from social media land. It's sponsors. It's people believing in us and then us supporting them and doing giveaways and, you know, including them, you know, their logos and the images and things like that. And, you know, I said before, I think before we went on, I go, in such a good way, we're blessed that we're becoming like the NASCAR of podcasts. Like, we have a lot of sponsors and it's great. And we just want to make sure that we're integrating them into the show. So it's like not only great for the listener, and it's not overwhelming to the listener, but we can also have these people support us, help us, make it affordable for them, not charge these outrageous prices, but, you know, make it easy for everybody and still be able to do this and make money. Ultimately, you know, I maybe didn't start this to make money. It was kind of just like, hey, I want to have fun talking to my friends about jiu-jitsu, and then it turned into this. So how are you making money, if that's okay to ask?
No, 100%. And I think what you guys do is awesome, because you have this strong brand that is a third person sort of perspective thing. It's tied to Milton, but it's not Milton. So you can fucking put out, you can nonstop, just infinite amounts of sponsors and just scale that way. But when you're an individual creator, when your face is tied to it solely as, you know, the Steven Strangles guy, you really should tread lightly with that, because you can lose the trust of your audience. Right now, I wish I can show you my screen, but I can go into my email now and I have 25 sponsors that are looking to get involved with me on various levels, whether it's micromedia or stories. We're doing thousands and thousands, 10K plus views just on that. So a lot of people want access to that audience. And I have a newsletter that does very, very well, which people want to get involved with that. But I'm still the same guy. I just don't feel as if I need to do that. And I'm lucky that I'm in a position where I don't need to do that. A lot of creators have to do that. I have 192 million views on YouTube. I've monetized the majority of those views. I've been able to make a lot of money through that. And I've done a few little sponsors you've seen me, and I've only done them because I like the product. I've experimented with it, and they've paid me well.
Okay.
But outside of that, Milton, I'm not really looking to get involved with too many sponsors. So really, a lot of my money has come from my Patreon, which does well, and my AdSense that does well. And I ran a gym for a long time, which I've exited on, and I have another way of making money as well, which I don't know if you want to get into that now. But
let's get into that. But what did you sell your gym or sell your stake in the gym? You just said you exited.
Yeah, I got out of the gym completely. I sold my stake because my health was failing, for one, but also when you have too many cooks in the kitchen, you got to get out of there. And I've been teaching since I was 16 years old as well, which is another detail. So I think at a certain point, you know, I want to continue to give to people, but there's only so far I can scale teaching classes. Like a fucking,
so that people know, again, if they're listening to you for the first time here, maybe they're living under a rock and haven't followed you yet. You know, let's just give them a little bit of history. Let's go back to the Danaher days and the St. Pierre days. That's one of those, that St. Pierre video where you're talking about them kind of mentoring you. Like, I've posted that a few times because that does really well. But yeah, tell everybody about where you came from. Tell them about your background in martial arts and jiu-jitsu.
So specifically, I've been doing martial arts since I was 12 years old. In karate, I started boxing at a young age as well. I started jiu-jitsu when I was 14, 15 under Renzo Gracie at a time where nobody trained jiu-jitsu. No kids did. This was 2002. So I was a troubled kid from South Yonkers. I had a really shady upbringing, drugs, alcohol in my family. I was living homeless at 9th grade, bouncing from couch to couch. My uncle and my aunt lived in the city. They were doing better than obviously I was at the time. And they said, hey, Steve, do you want to come live with us in the city? I said, absolutely, I'd love to. I get to go from living in South Yonkers, which is the hood, to living in the Upper West Side. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that. And I love them. They both passed away. But so they took me in. They said, what do you want to do? Do you want to continue playing guitar and maybe join a band? Or do you want to do this jiu-jitsu thing you're talking about? Because I had emailed Hoist Gracie.
Yeah.
I had fucking hit up Hoist Gracie. I didn't have a computer. I couldn't afford a computer. I was at my friend Jonathan's house. The internet was like barely functioning. There was no social media. I emailed this guy, Hoist Gracie, because I see him grabbing people and falling backwards. My head's exploding. I'm like, how is he falling backwards? What is it? You guys watching this don't understand what I'm talking about, because it's like there's nothing novel anymore in jiu-jitsu. But at the time, no one grabbed someone and fell backwards in a fight. It was fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So I emailed him. I go, hey, listen, Hoist, I want to train under you. I was a kid who just needed some guidance. He writes me back. I know it was him. At least I suspected it was him. It was in crazy broken English. Yeah. It was like the typos were off the chain. I was like, this has to be Hoist.
They're definitely Brazilian.
Me,
right?
Definitely Brazilian at the very least. But what he says to me, Milton, is he goes, okay, I'm in California at the time, but I have a cousin, Henzo, who's in the city, and it worked out perfectly because within 6 months, I was going to be moving to the city. So I told my uncle when I got there, I'm going to put the guitar down and I want to get back to martial arts. Take me to Henzo's. He takes me to Henzo's. Henzo's at the time was over a methadone clinic on 37th Street. It was completely dingy. No showers, one heavy bag in the corner, one big room with mats, no teenagers, no cool rash guards and gis. Everyone's wearing sweatshirts and t-shirts, all men fighting each other, fighting. Jiu-jitsu was very crazy back then. It wasn't like, let's enter into K-guard and play with his feet. It was like, how can I snap this guy through the fucking floor? So it was completely different. So I'm fucking shitting my pants. I'm this kid. I'm like, what am I doing here? Henzo comes up to me.
Are you a big kid too at that time?
I was pretty big. I was
decent size.
I was naturally pretty big kid.
Okay.
And he goes, hey, man. He calls everyone monster. So at the time, I thought I was the man. He was like, hey, monster, how you doing? You got to come train here. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to train with him. So I train. And who do I start training with, guys, right out the gate? No one knows who this motherfucker is. John Danaher. He had just gotten his black belt a few months prior.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and I don't know what it is. And John, I just knew right out the gate that this guy was special. I just knew right out the gate, and that his way of breaking down techniques, and he intellectualized, and I hate using the term because it's kind of corny now, but he systematized techniques in a way that at the time was so novel. Because everything back then was, if he grabs your leg, pull your leg out, grab his arm. Like, it was so like primordial. And then he was just breaking shit down in ways that my little brain couldn't even handle. So I just became a devout student of his. He always took well to me as well. I was a young kid. As you know, he likes to tutor younger individuals who are talented. So I was that first crop of teenage. I was maybe the first teenager that he ever had, and his youngest black belt as well. So
wow. That's awesome.
I learned a lot from that man. And I was able even to come back in my 30s and compete under him right before he left. And he guided me through that process as well. We went 26-0 as a black belt. 0 points scored against me. Wow. And that's right before he went to Puerto Rico. But yeah.
Oh, wow. So you were training him right up to the end there.
Yep.
And talk, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about GSP. I know, again, on the last episode, we talked a little bit about, like, GSP was a little bit of a mentor for you, and you'd go up to Canada and be a training partner, right? I guess once he found out that you knew jiu-jitsu, I think he thought you were maybe just a striker in the beginning.
Yeah. So I trained with George back when I was 16, and I don't know, I was kind of like a closet fan. No one really knew who he was not famous. He had fought like Pete Spratt or some shit. Like, he wasn't big at all. But I fucked with him. I was like, this guy's crazy. His legs were like unrelated to the subject, but just like, how was his legs that big?
Yeah.
And so I would wrestle him, and he would just single leg me. And like, he would just kick my fucking ass. And then what happened, and I've said it before, but there was a period where he wasn't able to train at Henzo's because of the whole fight that he had with Matt Serra.
Yeah.
He got exiled there. When he came back, I had developed a little bit. It was a few years. I had gotten a little bit better. And John calls me and he tells me, hey, George is going to be back in the gym. The UFC cameras are going to be there. It was before embedded, but they used to do some weird shit like, whatever. He said, come in and get some work. So I said, yeah, I was hungover that day. I live a completely clean life. I haven't touched marijuana, alcohol in many, many years. I live a fucking militant life, but not back then. So your boy came in, tooted. I was up till 3, 4 in the morning. I was high as a kite. I was hungover. And I rolled with him. Unbeknownst to me, he was blown away. He was like, who the fuck is this kid? He didn't remember me. I remembered him, obviously. So he grabs me after and he goes, let me show you the single leg. He starts showing me stuff. And then long story short, he ends up going, I would love for you to come up to Montreal and do some training with me. So John facilitated that. And that sort of began the relationship, at least from his perspective. I had obviously known about him and trained with him before. And yeah, we became training partners. But he didn't realize, to what you said previously, is when I came up there, he says, you want to spar? I was like, yeah, I've been boxing for many, many years and doing kickboxing. He didn't realize I had striking experience. So I became more of, I went up there just to help him with his jiu-jitsu. And I was 21, which think about that. You know, he's at the height of his powers in Montreal.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking wild 21-year-old who's being brought up to help him. We're in the club. I'm gonna leave it there because I know you're gonna clip this and fucking put it on you.
What's that? No, it's just us. It's just us.
Yeah. So
one's here.
Shit was great, but he taught me so much about being a man because I had a great influence on my uncle. He taught me everything I need to know about being a man. I didn't need any other influences. God bless him. But I never was around someone that was that perennial. That was that dude. He couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't. We went to eat ice cream. We went to the club. Mobs. And I saw the way he dealt with that pressure at the peak of his powers and how he took time for everyone and how he held doors for people. And it really it granted me that insight beyond the training. You know, the training, I could go on for years about everything I've learned. I'm still teaching some of that stuff. But yeah, what a wonderful mentor. And I just consider myself to be fortunate and lucky. A lot of
right place, right time, right? Right place, right time.
Man.
Yeah.
I didn't have a great fortunate story. I mean, outside of me having my uncle and aunt take care of me, which is fucking amazing. That's huge. That is fortune. But just the chance that this would all happen is kind of weird.
Yeah, man. Look, you wrote an email and it changed your life, right?
Shout out to Hoist Gracie or whoever that was.
So let's go back. We went on a little detour there to give everybody your history. I think we were talking a little bit about, you were going to give us some tips or talk about the monetization of kind of social media or something. You started saying something before, and we.
So the Steven Strangles thing, really, it's starting to become for me. And again, this is all off the back of I've had many injuries. Both my biceps are torn, nerve damage in my neck. If you ever see my lip, you know what I'm saying, hanging off, my knees don't work, ankles torn. I just want to give the backstory. I'm not complaining. I'm just going to give people what this story is about. So that's how bad that back injury was for me to fucking be here saying it took me out of the game, completely changed my life. So I learned what I kind of intuitively known. I've competed before. I've fought before. I've been a part of the best camps in the world. I have fighters now that are professional fighters. So I knew intuitively what it takes to come back from getting your body falling apart. But this forced me to go inside my mind in a way that I had never done before, how to habitually construct my life, how to run my mind, my habits, so that there was never an instance where I would miss. So right now with the Steven Strangles brand, it's me figuring out how to integrate that for every single person that I come across, to give it away. Now that we have that established, of course you can monetize that, and I'm creating a bunch of things around that. But what I learned with this whole AI thing, so this is going to take some of you jiu-jitsu guys for a run, but I hopefully can give you guys some gems. I believe no one in the world has said this, period, what I'm about to share. What I have right now, no one knows this, is I have a conglomerate of AI channels that I'm running. They're called faceless YouTube channels. So Steve, your views are down. I'm going to make money regardless. And this is how you guys can make money too. I learned that big companies are looking to buy YouTube channels. They'll buy it for $100,000. They'll buy it for $1 billion, holding companies. But what I learned from people much smarter than me is that they only are going to buy channels that have a strong personal brand identity. Well, I was like, well, how can I do that? Then I'm going to end up working for the company that's buying me. So what I started doing is forming faceless channels and creating archetypes. So I'm going to give one away. I'm not going to tell you the channel, but I'm going to give it away. A New York detective. So this New York detective has a face. I have an app that augments your voice. I can take Milton's voice, I can run it through, and it will sound just like him to the point where I can make him say anything. So if you've seen the Rogan things that pop up online with Rogan saying wild shit that he never said. I have the app to do that. So now I can plug my scripts into my voice modulator, and I have infinite voices that I can take. I create an archetype for this person, and now I can bang out using Midjourney, and which, by the way, just to inform people, Midjourney is an AI image processor where I can create these beautiful images based on prompts. So now I can do that at scale. Now for a jiu-jitsu guy, you can tell the story of a young up-and-coming jiu-jitsu guy who overcomes all of these hurdles, and you use all of those components to tell this AI story. You can now intersect artificial intelligence, anime, which is a huge market, and jiu-jitsu in a way that's never been done before. Wow. And now when you scale those views, you can sell it, and now they have a strong IP, right? The intellectual property is strong, a strong identity, and you're not tied to it. So you can do this. What I'm doing is building out a conglomerate.
Because they can continue doing that without you, is what you're saying, right? That
in perpetuity.
Yeah, right. They can, and that person also never gets old, huh?
Never gets old.
Right, that person never gets like, it's like Bart Simpson, right? It's like what Bart Simpson. The Simpsons have been on for what, 30 years now. Bart's the same age, right? Like that, you know.
And you can do this with many channels, and you can create many iterations. And then my thing is, I'm going to exit. Can exit for millions of dollars. That's the goal for me. So no one knows that. This is the first time I've ever broke that. Maybe two close friends know that.
So, it's still a secret between us.
Yeah, it's just us
between
and,
us
and a few thousand people that are listening.
I hope I can help. I want to give as much value as I can. No, that's very doable, guys.
Yeah.
That's super valuable.
So what I understand the AI side. I know that I've seen a lot of things. You know, I watch a lot of social media, and I watch a lot of creators and people that give tips. I'm going to use, this is probably not the best example. Well, maybe it is a good example. Like I follow like @wealth or like @motivation so-and-so, right? It's like there isn't, those are really ones without faces though. There's never a face of a person, right? There's never a face of a person. But I mean, those are great. I love those. I love those. They give motivational stuff. They tell you like quick, stories about Elon Musk or Zuckerberg or just this, whatever stuff out there that's good for business. Or again, it's wealth. So like people making money. I mean, I like that stuff. I want to make money, right? I like that motivation. That gets me out of bed in the morning. And be like, I might wake up, grab my phone, look on Instagram, just and all of a sudden something like that comes up, and I'm jumping out of bed, and I'm like ready to take on the day.
I love it, man.
I tell my wife, kick the day in the balls. Let's kick the day in the balls.
Absolutely.
And but that's a little bit different than that model, right? You're talking about
just
really
to be
creating
clear,
a personality.
if you have a faceless channel that does not have an identity, you can't sell it. You can't exit on it you can sell it. Of course you can. But
not
big
as much.
Companies, and Mr. Beast will say this, big companies are not looking to purchase that. They want strong visual faces, human faces that can elicit real emotions, that can do well over time. So I'll give what you guys should do. I'm not going to do this. Maybe I will do it if no one does it, but I would create my own Goggins. He'd have a unique look.
Goggins, yeah.
I would fucking kill it with that. Guys, come on.
Yeah.
You can do the voice.
You can do that with any and think, we don't have to just think inside of the MMA fitness world. Like, I mean, that could be every industry, every genre could have its own version of that.
It could be technology. It could be finance. I mean, like I said,
do you have a channel running yet? Do you have any of them up and running?
Yeah.
You doing and building?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
share when you're ready.
Share
when you're ready. I don't mean like right now. Share.
I absolutely will. I'll come back on, and when I'm really ready, maybe I'm positioning myself to get out. I think it would be a good time. But I just think there's so much opportunity, and you just got to sort of widen your blinders a little bit. To do that. And to your point, you talk about getting up every day and kicking life in the balls, which I think is awesome. That's what's driving all this innovation for me that I don't even show on the internet. In order to really grow, you got to have that mindset and that ability to formulate your day and have that code of conduct to be successful. So many people, and I talk to jiu-jitsu guys and MMA guys in my DMs all the time, and it's like they're doing well in aspects of their life, but they haven't really figured out how to make that a homogenous sort of run through where I wake up, I do this, I do that. Everything in my day is meticulous. I'm always on time. I hold myself accountable. I never miss. And that allows me to not have those mental energy leaks that we talked about before where, oh man, like, I don't know, oh my God, the views aren't good today. Or I don't have those.
I don't even pay attention to that stuff as much anymore. Now this is
the way to be.
This is we got on the scale that where we are. This turned into. It's fun to do.
Yep.
But I'm not so overwhelmed with like, how did that video do, or how did this podcast do? This is my favorite day of the week. Now it
awesome.
rotates around, but my favorite day of the week is going to record a podcast. It's like I get to talk to people that I like, that have a good story, and that, again, it goes back to the original way that we started this, was just like, oh man, I wish I would have recorded that conversation. Having a beer and pizza and wings with friends and going, oh my God, man, fuck, we should have recorded that. Stories about like the Popovich days down here in South Florida and all that shit that happened with him. And I mean, just the craziness that like black belts were like the stories that they had. So it's so much fun. But now we're lucky. Again, I'll say it this way, and this is not, I'm not bragging. I hope that I'm inspiring somebody that wants to do a podcast. Although I tell everybody that wants to do a podcast, I still say the same thing: don't do a podcast. And why are you doing it? Are you doing it to make money? Because you're gonna have to put a lot more into it than you're gonna get out of it for years.
Yeah.
But we're in this really lucky space that I don't even reach out to sponsors anymore. They reach out, like you said, you got them in your inbox. I really use Instagram for almost for booking. I spoke to you. I said, hey, what I do, I reach out to you on Instagram. Yeah. I do everything on Instagram, including originally like asking people, hey, would you like to sponsor the show? Or hey, I really like your brand. That's the better way to do it. Hey, I really like your stuff, Steven. You want to come on the show? Let's catch up. Hey, Mr. Whatever company. Hey, I like your stuff. We're looking to fill this gap. Or could you send me some stuff and I'd like to check it out and maybe we can talk about having you on the show. All done through Instagram. I don't even do that anymore. Just now they just come in, occasionally, hey, how do I sponsor the show? I have a kit. I send them 2 images. It's our numbers and some information about the show and the cost, and that's it. And it's great. It's like it's got its methodology. Definitely want to be creating more content, and that's why we're going to have something in the house now. There's going to be a room. Since we're moving the podcast, Bo and I we've got to sit down because I just committed to this studio. Bo and I have to sit down and talk about like, what are we going to do? How do I set this up at home? Do I do this? Do I just do it with iPhone cameras? Do I need to use the equipment that we have here? Like those are conversations that we need to have.
Yeah, logistics. Yeah.
But yeah, now like I want to focus a little bit more on the content creation, and again, be a little bit more funny with it. I'm not looking to. I'm not a coach. I think you really need to have experience coaching to be able to really like go into showing a move. But I like showing funny moves. Or I like just showing myself, we haven't done one for a long time, but just showing like the way that I like, pick somebody's neck up to get into a choke,
right?
Like doing with the nose or doing it like this, or just slapping them on the forehead, like stuff like that. Like those are the like little things that I think not necessarily get taught or people just don't see unless they see it. Like I saw that stuff on videos. Even now I'm using like Wagner's, covering the mouth on people,
Yeah.
But I do that. But I'm not doing it in like, I gotta win practice. I'm doing it like
in a fun way.
I'm trying to be funny. Like I'm doing it and I'm smiling at them. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah. When you try to grab my leg before, here you go. How about you can't breathe now? So that's the stuff that I like. That's me. That's my personality. Look, I go back to, we named this Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. Who the hell names their podcast Jiu-Jitsu Dummies? And I told people originally we were going to call it Jiu-Jitsu Idiots, and now there's a Jiu-Jitsu Idiots out there. I saw like a small channel, and
too close.
I mentioned it a bunch. I've mentioned it more than once, and maybe somebody heard, or maybe they just did it on their own. But there's a Jiu-Jitsu Idiots handle. I didn't watch any of their content. I saw that it looked like it just got started, but
that's flattering,
Yeah. I mean, if it was because of us, that's great. I was like, idiots might be a little too strong.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu fucking morons.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
I wanted it to be. I really wanted it to be. We started this when I was a purple belt, so I wanted it to be. Hey, I know I'm just a purple belt. I'm here to learn and meet people and talk about jiu-jitsu. I'm as passionate about it as the black belt that's showing moves. But it's funny. I mean, those guys like. I watch a lot of guys that put out content that probably have no business getting behind the mic to do a podcast, right? That's just not their forte. And I kind of feel that way. Like I coached when I was at white and blue belt because I was helping my coach and I was helping him with the kids classes. And that was great. And I felt like I could like really coach and show moves. And I still do that in my gym today. A new person comes in, and especially when they're bigger, like I'll say, yeah, I'll take him, coach, and I'll walk them through. Like they'll do a move of the day, but I'll be doing some, when we'll watch the move, but then I'll be like, okay, let's go over here and let's just do jiu-jitsu 101. Put me in your guard, get in my guard, passing, things like that. So I have a lot of fun with that, but I'm not looking to show like high level moves and that kind of stuff. So I like the dickhead move of the week thing. I think that's going to be our thing.
Knowing who you are, like I've said that. I actually tweeted this yesterday. You are the niche, man. You are the niche.
Yeah.
Who are you? What are your interests and talents, and what's that intersection? People are always trying to box themselves in, and I did it, and you can get successful with it. I'm not saying that, but what I'm trying to explain is you can try to be someone you're not, to your point, and then it's never going to work. It's never going to work because you're not being your authentic self. So if teaching that particular move works for you or that style of content, then you're going to be successful at it because it's going to come off as authentic.
Yeah.
Then it becomes like, how do I package it and all the nuance shit like that? But that's learnable. Where people fuck up with the content creation is they're not playing true to who they actually are as an individual. They're not playing true to their core, what they actually are. Like, you look at me, whether you like my fucking green screen content or my documentaries or my reactions or whatever, you know it's me. You know, like, that's Steve.
What
if you buy
sparked
into that?
Was there something that you were like, I want to do these, I'm going to put myself on, like, was there a moment where there was a light switch, or did you do it once and be like, oh, wow, that took off, let me do that again? Or was it like truly conscious, like, yeah, I'm going to do this. This is going to be a niche within my niche. I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah, I saw when it came to the first person shit I was doing, you guys remember, if you do remember, it was the streets are ruthless. Like I was super branded very well. And those exploded. That was because I saw an ice cream. So it was always someone outside of my niche. I'm not inspired by any of these jiu-jitsu guys. And I'm not, because I'm going to ask you, Milton, real quick. Who the fuck is doing good content? Be honest. Who the fuck is doing dope-ass content in jiu-jitsu?
I love
outside of you guys.
Brandon McCaffrey stuff. Brandon McCaffrey from 10th Planet.
Awesome. He's been,
he's
I've
amazing.
Very well shot. I love his stuff.
But he's literally got a camera guy following him around. I don't want to say 24/7, but like most of the day. Like, he says that was the best investment when we had him on. He says, and he's coming back on, by the way, hopefully soon. He says that was the best investment I ever made because it's just all this content. And he's just like a funny guy and a unique personality. Yes. And then it's like 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu on top of it, where it's like a little bit different than what most people are learning.
My point is that most people in this space are not innovating. Yeah. So what you can do is you can look peripherally to a different genre. And then I saw a kid making ice cream first person, and it was killing it. And I said, if I take that to self-defense and give it a shot, put my tinge to it, and then it exploded. And then I just kept creating iterations. Oh, can I succeed at this? Now I'm doing green screen. It's the lowest effort content in the world, but because I'm being myself and I'm authentic, it gets sometimes millions of views. Sometimes it get, it's just being yourself and being authentic.
I mean, there are people that I've like had on the show. Like, usually, like, either I watch something and then I ask them to be on the show because, in social media, it's truly this amazing thing where you feel like you know them. And when I have them on, I mean, before I ever actually speak to somebody, I almost, it's got to be weird to some people that, like, you start talking to them like you know them. And, like, I mentioned something that they never told me, like, oh, I know that you used to do this. And they're like, how the fuck does this guy know this, right? Well, I listen to a podcast, or I really do watch your stuff. So there are some out there. I don't look to social media to be like, let me find a move. Like, right?
All right.
It's like you're coming across it. But right, the more you watch something, the more you see. So like, I see your stuff all the time because I watch it, and then the algorithm knows that I watch it, so it shows me more, right? The things that I follow that don't watch, I don't really see, right? So it's just like the more you watch it, the more you see. So like, it's always the same people coming up. So I guess it's like you wind up getting fed the things that you like the most, and then it's just like that's all you're seeing. And
why do I keep seeing Trump videos?
Yeah.
Why am I? That's all you engage in, you fucking moron. What do you think?
It's the thing that you watch the most, right? So you can,
exactly.
You could, if you really.
By the way, that wasn't an anti-Trump thing at all. I Trump's my boy.
That was an endorsement. Okay,
There you go.
Fuck out of here.
What was I
Don't
gonna
put
say?
that on. Please don't clip that. Do not
No,
clip that.
I'm gonna leave. That stays in.
That stays in.
We don't cut out. You want it out or you want it in?
No, I'm saying don't clip that into a short form piece.
Oh no! Now I have to. Now I have to do that and include this part where you're saying don't clip that.
Baby, DeSantis, motherfucker.
For a long time, I've been like, my thing was going on a tangent here, but I would say here, and it was just my personal rule: no politics, no religion.
I dig it. I'm not a political person at all.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
No politics, no religion. I wanted it to just be about, from my mouth, I just wanted it to be about jiu-jitsu. And the things around it. And actually, like recently, when I went to the studio and they showed me some of the stuff from like Mickey Gall, like all the stuff that I'm seeing from Mickey wasn't about fighting. Him and this, he's talking about his personal opinions. They're talking politics. They're talking about sex. They're talking about women. And you got this, he's feeding off of this guy that does comedy. And I was like, again, I'm in this place now where I really don't give a fuck what people think about me. I just turned 50. I don't really give a fuck.
You look phenomenal.
Thank you, man. I just like a couple weeks just turned 50, and I'm like, I get it. Like, like the old curmudgeon, get off my lawn guy. Like, I really just don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I had a heart attack. I could be dead. I could have 5 years. I could have 20 years, 30 years left. I don't know. I'm doing stuff for me. I'm building a business like with and for my daughter. Like, those are the things that I love, and I love to do and talk about jiu-jitsu. I'm like, yeah, what's the big deal if I do give my opinion on something or do talk about politics and religion? And watching Mickey, I was like waiting for the MMA stuff. At least from like the clips I'm seeing, I'm like, there's never any MMA stuff, but it's a really good podcast, and it's about everything. It's just like wherever the conversation leads. And not that I want to change this to that, but I'm like, maybe am I holding myself back from really showing my own personality by not sharing those things? But again, I know I've watched stuff and I'm like, hey, asshole, I'm not watching you because I want to hear your politics. I'm watching you because I want to hear this thing that you're famous for. It's like when an actor comes out and starts like all of a sudden preaching about something and I'm like, yeah, I just want to watch your movie. But sometimes it's like, oh yeah, you know what? Maybe they're right. You know what? Does that make sense?
Oh no, I think people self-filter themselves, and they go so far niche that it's like you really don't have much wiggle room, and expanding outside of that becomes hard. So this goes back to that same point of being your authentic self. If you can figure out a way to be who Milton is, like authentically, that's fine. But here's the thing with these actors and these people who get super political. It's like, it's not that we don't care about your opinion. Your opinion sucks balls. And not only does it suck balls, it's in line with every other fucking cliche that's perpetuating itself across Hollywood or whatever the norm is anyway. If you have a contrarian opinion, an opinion that is nuanced, that actually offers value, I don't give a fuck about hearing about jiu-jitsu dummies. If you come in and you elucidate me into something that's about food because you're passionate about food, or I don't even drink, you might be into whiskey. You might be able to tell me about some Japanese whiskey, and I'm like, that's fucking dope. But if that's truly a part of who you are and it's layered, I'm all in. Yeah. It's just these actors and these other people, they take these homogenous talking points and they try to fucking force it down your mouth. Like, you don't realize your shit is canned, man. It's canned. So I get what you're saying.
I'm moving soon, and I'll have to, I think my voting district will move, and whenever you do your card, you can declare like Republican, Democrat, Republican, or Independent. And I'm pretty much, if I can do it on the car, if I can do it when I change, I'm gonna change it to independent.
I actually did no affiliation.
Yeah,
I did. I'm not affiliated with any of these.
Okay. So because I'm in a place where I'm in, I've never said this out loud. I don't think, or maybe I said this, but not on the show. I'm in my Chris Rock phase, right? At my age, right? You're gonna change. Your politics are gonna change as you get older. And what you thought was like liberal becomes a little bit more conservative, right? I'm in my Chris Rock phase where I say I'm liberal on some things and I'm conservative on some things. You remember his special? He says, I'm liberal on prostitution or something. He says, right? I'm liberal on that, right? And I'm conservative on this. So like that's where I am, where I start to roll my eyes at. I hate. absolutes, right? I hate anything in absolutes. Like when somebody goes, that's never this, or you could never do, like, first of all, it's like challenge accepted, right? And I'll,
Right.
But the right, again, with politics, the right and left, I don't believe everything that they say on the left, and I don't believe everything that they say on the right. I'm like, I think if most people were actually honest, like, they wouldn't just follow one tribe. Like, we're in this tribe, and we absolutely believe only these things. I'm past that. Where I was for a long time. Like, no, I'm a Democrat, I'm liberal, I'm this, I'm that, and now I'm in the middle a little bit more. And I don't like the absolutes of it's got to be only this. And,
when I see someone, Milton, that's 50, 60 years old, and they haven't changed their political beliefs ever, they have never evolved that, I know all I need to know about you. Like, you have not been through any, like, you're telling me that
you're not capable of change. You're not capable of change, or at least you're not going to admit that you're.
Well, you're not trying.
I think those people, it does change, but I think, like, I'll say it for myself. I think there have been times in my life where I've defended a position that I didn't necessarily really, really, truly believe in, because you have to hold, like, the party line. And I'm not a political guy, but when you're in a conversation with somebody, like, you're like, well, you're trying to convince them of why this thing is kind of right, but maybe you don't really believe it wholeheartedly, or you're not in 100%. Again, I just don't like absolutes. There's a middle ground here. There's a middle where those of us who, like, I think have a half a brain will go, well, no, I get your point. And I'm somebody that, again, maybe this has changed as I've gotten older. Like, I'll listen to your side. No, I may not agree with it. Well, Bo's over here making faces because Bo is.
Well, no. I want to say something. I do want to say something.
I'm going to let you get. Go ahead.
So, for the longest time, this goes back 20 years. I've been saying this. I've been struggling to one line the concept of what is it to be American, and I got it. You're liberal in lifestyle, conservative in politics, because that conservation of the Constitution is what gives you the life, the liberal life, that you can choose whatever life you want to be, live and let live, right? So liberal in lifestyle, conservative in politics. You put those together, you got American. And really,
I think somebody can argue the other. I think somebody can kind of argue the other side. Well, I live a conservative life, so what? That?
Well,
then I'm not
but
American,
that's
right?
your choice,
right? That's where again, that in and of itself is, if you
concept.
said that, and that's everybody, right? That's that's an absolute. If you're this and you're this, then you're American. What if somebody's super conservative in their lifestyle?
Liberal means you get to choose whatever lifestyle you want. So if you want conservative, you can be. You want liberal in any way of liberal. Liberal doesn't mean anything but free. So when you look on the world stage, America is the only liberal country in the world.
I think I remember why I don't talk about politics on the show.
Hey, but I'm telling you, some of these can get really juicy. You get some good talking points.
Listen,
he's focused right now.
No. I mean, I get it. Oh, no. I mean, again, I get it. I get it. I as I'm, again, maybe it's because I just turned 50 and, like, a lot of things are changing in my life. I've consciously said, maybe I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Maybe, like, I've held back from giving my true opinion when somebody says something on the show. And the world, at least the people that I'm involved with on the show and in jiu-jitsu, nobody that I know has liberal views like I do, or like is left leaning, or super. No, we've had conversations. Like, most of my closest friends, we do not have the same political views at all. We're not even closely aligned. Like, I would say I'm in the middle and they're, like, super right. I feel like, at least I've encountered, you can tell me if I'm wrong, like, in the jiu-jitsu and MMA world, like, it definitely leans more conservative.
It leans right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it does lean right. I think it has a masculine component to it, and I think things, especially for me, it was the whole pandemic, man. I'm from obviously a liberal state, and then that pandemic hit, and I had to actually go to these Democratic offices, like the mayor of Mount Vernon, and I had to sit with them, and they patronized me, and they laughed in my face about the gym not being open. They're like, oh, we're going to have to see what happens. Like, the shit they put us through. Yeah. And then when I saw this,
what did you do? You went to meetings? You went to, like, town halls or something? Or you went to
town halls. I had personal meetings with the mayor. and they would come to the school and look at the piping to try to shut us down.
Yeah.
Like they were so fucking disgusting. And then now when I see what's happening on the other front with the whole, I won't get into that.
Get into it.
Kids and shit. Yeah, it's just
no. I agree with him. I agree with him.
It fundamentally changed the way that I see the world.
Yeah.
It changed the way that I see the world, the way that I relate to politics. But guess what? Here's the golden thread. Because without saying that, okay, I've moved from way far left. My family's progressive to somewhere in the middle too, right? Somewhere in the middle. I'm objective. Okay. Like I'm not a Trump fan. I was fucking around, but like. Everyone hates Trump, right? All the liberals hate him. Yeah. Let's go Trump, because fuck you guys. Yeah. So I'm right there in the middle. But for me, I realized I got to live for myself, motherfucker. I got to get up and do my own thing. Yes. I'm not going to let Fauci or DeSantis or whoever wins the fucking next presidency dictate how I live my life. And then I can already hear the counter arguments. But Steve, it's going to affect your kid's life, but it's going to affect your Social Security. Bitch, you think that I'm worrying about my Social Security? I'm getting it now.
Yeah.
I'm getting it now.
That's true liberalism. Yeah. That's true liberalism.
Classical liberalism. Maybe I'm a classical liberal, but I'm taking back my autonomy. Fuck all that nonsense,
So this is maybe so that people understand where I am. I'm watching did you watch the last UFC?
Yeah.
Did you watch the last event? Who walks out? Dana White walks out with Trump. He walks out. He walks out. And I'm like this. As the crowd is going wild, I'm like, this fucking idiot. So now, let's say, I am 0% of me is a Trump fan. But let me add this.
No, it's fine. Yeah. He's unlikable.
The messenger, there are a lot of good things that he may have done. And look, I had a little bit more money in my check when I was working for somebody else when he cut taxes, right? But it's the fucking messenger, man.
I know.
You could have somebody that's a little bit more well-spoken saying the same or spouting the same policies.
Yeah.
And me go, go back. I remember Ronald Reagan like he was a great He was a great deliverer of the message. Is that right way I say?
He was an actor, by the way.
Yeah, he delivered. Yeah, right. He delivered a great message.
Trump's
and then you have somebody with like Trump saying like you try to deliver the message, and then he steps all over it by shitting all over what he says or shitting all over somebody. You know, so like it's the messenger. So you mentioned DeSantis. I'm in Florida. You know, same thing. Like businesses were open, and there were certain things that DeSantis did that were like, hey, it was good for business. You know, I had blown out my knee, so I wasn't training anyway for most of or at least maybe the first 9 months of the pandemic. So I did go back and we were able to train, and that was good. And my, businesses didn't go under, and businesses did not shutter in Florida like they did in a lot of other places, especially in the fitness community. I can't tell you. At least down here, I can't tell you a gym that closed because of the pandemic that I know of. Not that didn't happen, that I know of in my world and in talking to people like this. People moved around and maybe even like some people like, I went and opened my own gym so I could do it my way. But it's the messenger. And, DeSantis is a better messenger, but he's still not the best messenger. He's still, I mean, if you're down here and you watch him and you hear him, I mean, sometimes it's just like, look, I'm a brown man living in America. I am a brown man. I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm Puerto Rican. I am a brown man. And for a big part of my life, especially in New York, I lived on Long Island, people didn't let you forget that. It was like always a thing. Like,
you gotta let it
that's
go,
the Puerto Rican guy. Then you can't.
Yeah.
You can. That's more easily said than done. You can't. No, that's bullshit.
You do, dude.
Yes, that's bullshit. You can't just like, that's who I am. You can't tell. You can't.
No,
that's who I
let
am.
Shit go. Everybody.
No, you can't. No, you can't. No, but that's different when you're on. If you're out in public, like if you're in a room of white people, they'll make the. I've been in the room. They make the Polish jokes, the black jokes, to this, and they feel like they could say,
especially in Long Island at that time.
Yeah, but
that's
in the
terms of
70s,
endearment.
80s, and 90s when I grew up,
brutal.
It was. Like I'll tell you, one of my good friends like a couple years ago said, there's a place called Center Reach. Yeah, and he goes, he's like, yeah, that they call that Center Rico now. Right. Yeah. Like, okay. So now he knows me. He knows that I don't like that kind of talk. But it's just, if you're comfortable saying that in front of me, what are you comfortable saying not in front of me? So anyway, so fast forward, I'm a brown man living in this country. So certain things you have to know, like it's like knowing your audience. Like you have to be
agreements.
careful what you say. Again, you could say what you want, say what you mean, but you have to understand the way that you're delivering the message. You're not delivering the message to people who've had the same life as you. In Florida, it's Cubans, it's Puerto Ricans. I mean, what do they say? Like West Palm Beach down or Boca Raton down. It's like the further south you go in Florida, it's like the further north you're going in the country, because it's like New York. It's like such a mix of like a New York City kind of feel, right? There's just so many people. So anyway, again, it's the deliverer of the message. I can't see Biden getting reelected. But I'm like, okay, if I had to choose, who would I want out of that Republican stable that's coming out? Who do I want that I feel is a good messenger? Who's going to not make us look like idiots, who's not going to say something like, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'd still love me. Like, you just, basically what you said was, those people are such fucking idiots that I could kill somebody and they're still going to follow me, because that's how I heard it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, that's probably the most I've ever talked about politics on this show. But
for agreements, I'll say this.
Here's the thing, and we can slide that over to branding and how it relates to branding, because that's all this is. Politics is just like a sort of formalized version of branding for the world stage. But the interesting thing for me is I realize that polarization is what actually gets attention. Mm-hmm. So I'll shoot this person on Fifth Avenue or yada yada, or I say something that's maybe racially insensitive if I'm a white man. It's like it'll get the headlines. Maybe it is really who I am. It probably is. But it's enough for me to create that little bit of that rub to get the attention. And the same thing with what we do here. We're going to have discussions. We've already done it, especially for intolerant people on either side. They're going to hear something I said, something you said, and they're going to go, well, fuck this podcast. They're going to turn it off, and they're going to run around. They're going to run off.
Yeah.
Good, because that's what we want. Because Milton's authentic self and my authentic self is exactly who I want to broadcast. Okay,
you want to have those people. You want those people as your listeners. You want people that are.
I want my tribe, and if you most of the people are going to watch because they don't like my opinion. Even better. So polarization, if done correctly, not racially speaking, but polarization on some level is really good.
Ideological.
And let me say this too. Let me say this about the kind of like the polarization. I think this will make sense. So when I was little, I used to go to Puerto Rico just about every year. My Spanish is still horrible, but I used to go to Puerto Rico just as long as I can remember, probably till it was in my teens. Like, we just went every year. It was just like we went down one like Christmas, and then my family came up like for the summer, or vice versa, right? And I would go to Puerto Rico, and like, I'm Puerto Rican. My mom's light skinned. My dad's a little bit dark. I'm darker than even my dad now. I would go to Florida, and there were like blonde-haired, blue-eyed Puerto Rican women. People, just people. Let's not, who knows what their background is. A lot of Germans in South America. A lot of German. My mom's like grandmother was German, right? Like, she was like I believe a German background. When I met my great grandmother, I sat down with this woman. She was white with blue eyes, like this old lady. She wasn't even like, she couldn't even speak. She was like so old in a home, So I would go to Puerto Rico, and I would see these like blonde-haired, blue-eyed women and men and black people, and I was like, oh, this is all Puerto Rico. It's just like here. It's all of this. But when I was in New York, like, I was what mostly like most Puerto Ricans look like me, or at least most Puerto Ricans, you'd be like, oh, that guy's Puerto Rican. Really, right. There was Dominicans and Puerto Ricans on Long Island, and everybody was Puerto Rican, right? Like, they just called you Puerto Rican. So, like, that's all I even saw were like people that looked like me, and then I'd go there and I'd be like, oh my God, they just speak Spanish, but there's this whole rainbow of people. Like, it's so different.
So let me ask you: are all white people the same then?
What's
because
that?
everybody
absolutely.
So wait, I was going somewhere. I was going to go somewhere with that. I was going to go somewhere with that. I've heard some of the most racist stuff from like my grandmother. Like, my sister was dating like a dark-skinned Dominican guy when she was a teenager. Yeah. And she would say she was visiting in New York, and she met him, and like they went off, and she was just like, she fucking had a shit fit and told my mom, I can't believe you're letting her date him. Like, they were super racist. So it's like the same everywhere. It's like it's the same everywhere, even within those individual communities. So like, when you're talking about polarizations, everything is polarized. There it's polarized. Like, New York was polarized. It's polarized in the country. Like, but I think you're right. It's like, I think I heard something just on the news just recently. I don't watch a lot of news anymore, but I was watching something, and somebody says, right, we have to be polarized for them to make money, basically, right? For us to grab the eyeballs, it has to be polarized, right? You've got to have each side. Maybe it wasn't the news, maybe it was just something on social media, but right, you have to have both sides arguing in order for it to be to draw eyeballs, right? Because what are we going to watch? Are we going to watch the little baby shaking a rattle and playing with its mommy, or are we going to watch the train hitting the parked car on the tracks, right? Like, if you put both of those things out, most people are gonna want to see the train, literally, right? Right, we call it. Yeah. Like, you can't look away from the train wreck, or that person's a train wreck, right?
Ancient politicians learned. They figured this out. Obviously, they figured it out back in the day that if you create a bifurcation and you play to the human psychology of right or wrong, left or right, black or white, you can create this disconnect, and then you can sway people, and it works incredibly well. So you see that everywhere. It's just incredible. But the point,
man, on point.
They're playing on our own internal faculties. So it takes for us to have that internal fortitude, the self-awareness to go, oh, they're fucking me right now.
Discernment.
Okay.
Yeah. Discernment.
I'm not gonna let them fuck me. I'm not gonna let them run a train on my mind. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a fucking man, and I'm gonna stand up for my shit. I'm gonna, but people don't want to do that. They get on Twitter and they just go with the flow. They're living autonomously.
Through the pandemic, I've worked out of my house. I've been in Florida for 25 years, and probably half that time I've worked out of the house, either on my own business or during the pandemic working remotely for somebody else. Like, I've either worked for somebody or had my own business, or even worked for somebody and had a side business going. And I watched a lot. I would just leave. It would be like half the day music and half the day the news. And see, it was almost always CNN. Throughout my whole 25 years here. And it slowly but surely just got like worse and worse. And like watching, to this day, like, I'll watch the news a little bit. I'll have a coffee in the morning. I always tell my wife, I want to watch the news. I just want to make sure the world's not ending. And then I'm gonna turn it off. I put music on. I put on stuff that I like, because if you watch, it could be fucking depressing watching the news all day.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like I don't care for, okay, there's wildfires here and people are becoming homeless, or right now it's the heat index and people are dying because it's freaking it's going to be 117 degrees in Arizona. It's not that I don't care about that stuff. It's that all the other stuff that they put in between all of those stories is all so fucking depressing. And
it's meant to be that way.
And again, and having, I tell people, if you, when people really start arguing about politics, I say, go back and every time somebody was elected, what really changed in your day to day if you didn't pay attention to it?
Right.
I say I had a little bit more money when Trump cut taxes. I had a little bit more money. That directly affected me.
But
I got Obamacare. I had Obamacare for a couple of years. I was on my business on my own, and I went through the marketplace, and I got they were like, those are significant things, but my day to day wasn't like, okay, what's Trump up to today, or I didn't have to hear Obama tweet or a Trump tweet. It wasn't necessary for me to live a happy life. I could be aware of what's going on. What's that?
It's the obsessive component.
Yeah.
It's this nonstop wash of the same fucking rhetoric over and over. We know what they're doing. Super
depressed. I started to just turn it off, and now I watch the news one time. I wake up in the morning. I put the TV on. I've been watching the CNN has an app on the Samsung TV. I actually usually put that, but there's three right next to each other in the channels. It's CBS, Fox, and ABC. And the Fox that's there is totally news. It's not opinion. There are no, when I at least watch it, there's no opinion news. It is news. So I would always be like, I'm never going to watch Fox. It's all opinion, and it's so right, or it's so to the right, and
yeah.
And no, they're
they're
actually showing stories, and it's not their opinion. They're just talking about this is what's going on in the world. And on these apps, I've found that CBS, they maybe kind of, you can see that they lean left a little bit, but the other ones, it's again with Fox, I find myself leaving that one on because it's not the Fox News, it's this Fox News app, and the news is just the news, so it's bearable. yeah, you might hear a bad story here and there, but they do like, they're cooking with this guy and this chef over here and this guy. Like they're putting like good stories in with even if it's bad, but they're not giving their opinion. And I guess like that's part of what bothers me with some of the news organizations. Like I'm hearing their opinion, but their opinion isn't the news. That's an opinion. That's like a talk show. That would be like
Oprah,
my take, right?
I'm a broken record, Milton. This is my take, and this is for anyone who might have a similar disposition to me. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? I still have to pay my mortgage. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing: if you do a little bit of research on marketing, you'll learn about a guy named Edward Bernays. He realized early on that these companies wanted to figure out how to get females to smoke cigarettes, and obviously it was a very masculine thing. So what he did is he figured he'd get all these beautiful women to stand on the side during a parade, dressed scantily clad, and smoke cigarettes, and have paid photographers come out and take photos. They published that into the newspapers. They realized that people will go wherever the interest or the energy is disseminated. So in other words, if I put this up in an image and say, this is now true, it makes you more feminine to smoke. It was all constructed. It wasn't real. Women started smoking the next day, and it became a normal thing thanks to Edward Bernays. And he did this. He's a pretty malevolent guy when you think about what he's done. But this is now a part of the news structure and every bit of information that gets sent out across the internet. As soon as CNN made that switch in the 90s from I think it was the 90s, 92, 93. I saw a documentary on it. They made a switch from news to this weird sensationalized, and Fox, forget about it. Opinion, but they made the sensationalized jump. It's just like, God, you don't see what's happening? Yeah. What are you doing? Worry about yourself.
The example a similar example that I use is wedding ring, engagement rings. That wasn't always a thing, right? Yeah, like it was, but that wasn't always a thing. That was constructed by the diamond industry. Like, you should propose and put this ring on her finger, right? That's not like in the Bible. That's not something that goes back hundreds of years. That's like, I believe, like early 1900s newspaper print, right? That wasn't a thing. Like, if you think of like a movie that maybe you've watched, like a period piece, like when a man proposed to a woman, that wasn't like, and let me put this ring on her finger, right? That's like what would that be? A 20th century concept, right? The 1900s, right? 20th century. Right. That'd be like a 20th century concept. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but right, like that's my example of like older, what you said. It's the
modified. It's an older concept, but it's a modified thing.
But the diamond ring,
like Santa Claus.
The diamond ring, maybe not an engagement ring, but the diamond ring was constructed by the diamond industry.
Santa Claus,
like, you should be doing this, So
Santa Claus went from Saint Nick to the Macy's version of Santa Claus, which was the marketed version. Yeah. Yes. I mean, most of that, even the freaking Bible, is half of it is marketing as opposed to truth. So Bernays, actually malevolent or not, what he did great was to expose this aspect of human psychology, that people can be so sheepy sometimes. If they're not careful with their psychology and guard their minds, they become sheep of ideas. And if you just feed the idea with some boobies or some candy or some sugar.
Boobies work very well.
Right? Yes. Right? So, boom, you attract people and they just kind of flock to it like flies to poop. So,
it's funny when I talk to clients about social media, like we handle social media, like we'll do postings for clients, and we have a program that we do. And I'll tell them, I'll say, look, like, we're doing it for this reason. We're using like the social media. You're a business. We're using the address. Like every social media site, with the exception of Threads right now, like you can create a business account and have an address, right? Have your physical address on it. And now it becomes a directory and Google picks it up like that, right? But I tell them, I'm like, unless you're showing TNA, unless you're going to unless you're like showing, like, like these chiropractors that do like the back, like the cracking the back videos with the little mic on the back, like, they found this way of making their practice bigger, or using social media to make their practice bigger. Said, unless you're ready to do something like that, or there's something so interesting, or you're going to show a picture of a dentist, like you're going to put a boot on somebody's face and pull somebody's tooth out and make it like entertaining. We're using social media for the value of its like the directory aspect of that. Now you have an Instagram, it has your address, so now there's another directory with your address on it. It helps move your Google business profile up. Right, that's how we use it. But I have those conversations all the time where I say, like, if you're looking to build your following, like, it's not gonna build just from us putting out like the services that you offer. Like, it's just not going to move unless you're doing paid ads, or unless you're showing, like, it's got to be something really spectacular. And most companies or businesses, especially the ones that I deal with, small and medium-sized businesses, they don't have a budget to be doing that or the time, right? So
that's the issue.
Social media is a lot different. Like, you just it doesn't grow like that. And let's go back. Let's talk about something that's kind of like, okay, this is, I think, newsworthy, and then this is a social media thing. Talk to me about your take on Elon and Zuckerberg. This whole thing with them going to fight. Like, this is like, again, like, this talk about like opposite sides of the spectrum, right? You've got like, you got like Zuck on one side, which I think most people would say like super lefty liberal, and then you've got Elon, who's very verbal and using his social media platform with really saying it, I think, a little bit more directly than maybe Zuck is. But what is your take on this whole thing as somebody that understands fighting and jiu-jitsu on top of it? Besides the politics or like this,
and
the news of it, talk to me about the whole thing. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, so if we don't want to get into the fact that I believe that this might be some weird psyop that's going on, but we'll get.
I agree.
Who's telling me? Like, people call Zuckerberg a CIA agent. Was that you, Bo, that said that last time we were here?
The CEO of Anheuser-Busch actually was a CIA agent for 5 years. Clandestine ops. Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Let's toss it to. Go ahead, Steven. Go ahead. I didn't mean to
Well,
interrupt.
for me personally, I'm not a huge Zuck fan. Just the way that he handled our information on Facebook, he's had so many flubs with that. It's a little creepy. And now he's doing jiu-jitsu, and he's like hanging out with Adesanya and like on boats all weird and shit. Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't care for the guy. It's weird to me. Pretty sure he's a lizard, but Elon Musk, though. Elon, I gotta rock with Elon because Elon, I'll tell you why. Because Elon is obviously in the Danaher squad, George St. Pierre. These are my mentors.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm rocking with Elon thoroughly. Now, what I will also say is, who do I think is gonna win the fight, though?
Yeah.
Elon.
Zuck's gonna beat that ass.
You think?
I'm gonna tell you why. Zuck is shredded right now. I saw him with his shirt off. He's dented up. He's diced. And not only that, he's competing. Musk. No offense, Musk, you're looking fat. You're all out of shape. You don't look conditioned. You probably
way older.
Drinking. You got 900 kids. Yeah, it's like everything's all over the place. He has too many moving plates. So if it was me, if I'm voting, I'm gonna put my money down. Even though I definitely ride with Elon over Zuck. Zuck's gonna win. Zuck's gonna beat him.
I think Zuck. But do you think that it would actually ever happen? And do you think it benefits anybody?
Reptilians are strong.
No, it's complete. It's two billionaires playing with our attention. Like, I don't give a fuck what you guys do, man. Like, you want to make believe you're a martial artist for a few weeks? You're bored of being a billionaire? Okay, cool.
Tell me though that I don't know if it was the very first response, but Zuckerberg's response. Do you know what his response was?
No.
Basically like this, like Elon said something, or maybe started training. He said something about fighting, and what Zuck send location.
Yes, yeah.
Which was who? Do you remember who did that?
No.
Elon.
Oh yeah,
no. Khabib Nurmagomedov had said that to Conor, right? Conor was talking all that shit online, and like in what would be broken English, I guess, or like send location, send location. So the fact I would ride with Zuck, not because of the politics of it, not because of who he's training with, because I have in my mind, unless somebody, maybe somebody told him to say that, the fact that he knew that and what that meant, and the fact, like, you see him at the UFCs now, like they did that one closed session at the Apex, I guess, for him. I think there was something behind that, though. I think they're developing like the AI. Well, I think they're doing. They were trying to develop like some AI or some virtual reality stuff, maybe to watch fights, like they've been doing with the.
Cool.
I think maybe they did that close thing to be able to do something to kind of test or work on something that they haven't told us about yet. But the fact that he said that and he knew what that meant, if he really truly did, that's why I would ride with him, because I feel like he's a fan. He's training. He's not just training in one discipline. He's throwing hands. He's doing jiu-jitsu. He's in good shape. Like you said, he's competing. Hats off to. And imagine showing up at a competition. You're Mark Zuckerberg, and pretty much half the population hates you. We know in the jiu-jitsu world, people happen to lean a little bit more conservative, right? where like, there's a lot of gun nuts and cops and military, right? You just, it just leans a little bit one way to show up and to get on the mat and for people to be like, you really put yourself out there, because if you fucking shit the bed, the internet's never going to let you fucking live that down. And that's why I don't think they'll ever fight, because from a PR perspective, it's somebody loses tremendously. Like you're gonna lose, like market share, market cap. Your stock is gonna go down. Like
you can't do it.
Like
you can't.
You would lose. It's a PR person's. It's a nightmare scenario, because if you lose, you are now the joke of the internet. And then how you lose? Imagine Zuckerberg holding Elon, and Elon's getting choked out, and there's spit drooling down. Like that's gonna live forever. It's a PR. A fucking person's not. It's a nightmare, and it would be. They would be stupid to do it.
Yo, mid-journey, that image.
What's that?
Of Zuck choking Elon out, and he's got drool coming.
How many times people want to fight like Rogan or who's Blade? What was his name?
Wesley Snipes was gonna. That was
Wesley Snipes, right? Like crazy. They were. It's a lose. It's especially if one person's just better and training more. It's a lose for the other person, because you're walking into a situation where you're going to lose. This isn't a like, hey, you don't lose, you learn situation for like the normal guy. You lose. You lose a lot of face. You lose fucking followers, money. Again, if you own a company, like people might like this situation. People might be like, fuck it, I'm going over the threads if Elon loses. Like, yeah, I'm really gonna fuck Twitter, right? Like that could happen.
Even if they like Elon, it's like no one wants to be associated with a loser. It's just human nature. Yeah. So I understand that. But for me, it's like I see two guys that have a boatload of money. They obviously have really high intellects. They were able to navigate their way financially through creating problem solving for millions, billions of people. That's awesome. But like, I'm not going to entertain your little like, all right, I'm going to seem like a fucking contrarian on this podcast, but like, you're playing with new toys. I've been doing this my whole life, bro. Yeah. Like to me, I've been sacrificing my body my whole life. I'm not gonna sit here and watch you guys fucking.
What about in 5 years? You know what it takes, like 5 years. Now you're a purple belt.
Oh, you've paid your dues. Absolutely. The guy.
Now you'd be like, wait a minute, this guy's. You start seeing some cauliflower. You're gonna be like, all right, this guy's seen some shit now.
Here's the thing with Zuckerberg that no one's talking about, dude. He's rolling with paid people. Yeah. No one's going with him. He's in a closed environment. Why are we sucking this guy off? He's rolling around and people aren't choking him, and he's like ending up on top and everyone's laughing. It's like that's not how you get better.
Well, we know when we look at that, like they're letting him advance. They're letting him like, I'm here to kind of like, maybe I'm not going to let you choke me out. Like I'll let you. I also heard
rumors that like he made a stink at the tournament over like. I didn't get a point. He like and regular people make this whole thing too. Regular individuals complain about points that aren't awarded properly and all that. But he threw like a little bit of a hissy fit. So it's like, my whole thing is this. I think it's cool. Kudos to you. It takes balls to be a billionaire with that kind of attention on you. It must have been a pressure cooker to go out there and compete. I'm not minimizing that. What I'm saying is you already won life. Why are we Like, my attention span for it is so minimal. I'm going to say I respect the fact. I respect anybody that tries to get out there. Let's see how long they go. I think Zuckerberg, he's younger. He has the ability to stay longer. You know what? So to get older, you just talked about being hurt. I'm 50. I'm like, I wake up in the morning and it's just like, okay, start to roll over. Okay, what's going to hurt this morning? Like I wake up, I have a cup of coffee. I said a cup of coffee, the news, and I'm massage gunning my whole body. And I don't do it with the nice little round piece anymore. I do it with the fucking trying that spike piece to fucking get into places. Like I do my whole body while I'm watching, having that coffee. Then I sit down for some breakfast and get started on work because everything fucking hurts. So I know like Elon to start now. Hey, jiu-jitsu's for everyone, but it's really difficult to have longevity when you start so late.
What if?
It is.
And then you've got Zuck, who's like younger, and again, he's competing. Look at the shape that he's in.
What if this is a secret industry kind of thing going on where, like, the Gracies and the big hitters in jiu-jitsu are working with Elon and Zuck to promote jiu-jitsu through this whole thing, they'll never actually fight.
I love the fact that the thing that I love the thing that
That's
I do
true.
almost every day is at the center of all this.
That's a really
love
good
it.
point,
I'm like,
I
there's this
a little bit.
this spotlight that's on it, and it's not just like it's like people keep on talking about they're going to get in a cage. Like nobody's saying like, oh, they're going to do a jiu-jitsu match, but we know kind of like in our world, like it's the base of it, you know.
They're going to roll around.
Yeah, they're going to wind up rolling around. They're going to wind up in a jiu-jitsu situation. So we know, like as jiu-jitsu practitioners, like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Look at the light that they're shining on this.
It's going to be funnier than Mayweather and McGregor, though.
Oh, I mean, that was just fucking crazy. This is if they fought now. You know, we've all seen those fights of two people that are completely like don't belong in the ring.
Yeah.
You know, you go to your fucking, you know, you just like all technique goes out the window, and then you know you just start fucking like throwing punches to survive. So
American.
I saw
belly.
Elon put a tweet out. Elon put a tweet out where he went. He said, "Well, I did a little bit of judo. I did a little bit of whatever," and then he said in some street fight defense. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" I was like, I got to jump over the Zuck side after that tweet. That was a painful tweet.
We all know, and no offense, Bo. Like everyone, we know when somebody comes to us. If I went to you and I was just like you're truly an MMA guy. You've done boxing. I did a little bit of Muay Thai for a couple of years when I first started jiu-jitsu. We had a Muay Thai class, and then we did like some MMA class. They really called it, right? You're doing your throwing hands, takedowns, and use your jiu-jitsu. So like when somebody comes into the gym or something and it's like, oh, what have you done? Like everybody's done some karate when they were a little kid. Everybody's done some taekwondo. When they tell me that there's this little thing, and even if we don't show it on our face, in our mind is smiling. Our mind's going, oh my God, I'm about to fuck this guy up so bad. And really, let's see what he thinks when he's done here. There's that thing or somebody that says, oh, I had a lot of street fights, or I see red. Like those are all little things.
I see red meme. Yeah.
Those are all things that we go, yeah, get on the mat. Let's get you on the mat. And unless you practice how to fight, even if you fought at some point in your life, if you don't practice it, it's a skill. It's a skill that you can lose. It's a skill that you have to refine again, that you have to, you've got to dust off those gloves and put them back on to kind of get that feel again. Because if you're somebody who trained for 25 years and then stopped for 25 years, and then, you're fighting somebody who's just been training for 5, that guy's going to give you a hard time. He's actively training. His that like we call like invisible jiu-jitsu, or the muscle memory, right, is really what invisible jiu-jitsu really is. It's the muscle memory. Like it's just happening without you really realizing it sometimes when you're rolling around.
Autopilot.
Like, your body goes, oh, I know where I am, and I'm rolling and you're pushing.
Listen, I can just look at Elon, brother. I look at him. You're built like a bag of milk. Like he's done. You're done.
A bag of milk? I've never heard anybody say that before. I like that, though.
He got tits. He looks horrible. It's like,
let's give him some time.
Looks like he had the kids.
Rogan will get him on some TRT.
There we go.
Rogan will get him on some TRTs and be like, listen, if you're really going to get in there with Zuck, we need to do this.
He does look strong, though.
He's big. He's a big dude.
He's big.
He's a big dude.
He looks strong.
He's a big dude. Imagine if he trimmed down, how old is he? Is he in his 50s?
I don't know.
50s, right? Yeah.
He's like a flabby bull.
I got a couple of listener questions for you, and then we'll let you go. Yeah. We're running long, so I don't want to keep you forever. So we had Michael Alvarez 22 on Instagram says, high reps or heavy weights in the gym, and why?
High rep? I'm sorry, one more time.
Yeah, he's talking about lifting. He says high reps or heavy weight in the gym, and why?
Well, I don't say this or that. I think that's a flawed way of looking at it. Everyone looks at me. If you watched me train in my comeback at 32 years old, after 12 years of not competing, a lot of what I did was high rep stuff for competition, and it really did. It helped me tremendously. Yeah. What I do now, as I actually went down, I would always do 25 reps per exercise, and then I would do bands and the conjugate method. But now I do super heavy majority of the time because I'm after certain things. So if I was competing, I'd probably stick with a majority high volume situation. But if you're looking for bone density and you're getting older and you want to just stay active and stay in good shape and look good, I tend to lean like heavy a lot of the time, and then I'll dice it up once or twice a week with high rep. But this is the thing. I lift every day. I lift 7 days a week. My thing is this. Don't get married to either one. The bodybuilder is going to say, do it this way. The power lifter is like, I got to do this.
Absolutes, and right? Again, absolutes. I hate absolutes.
Back to the point.
Fucking drives me nuts. So, I would say the same thing, just a little bit differently than you're saying it. But for me, if I want to win in the gym, I'm not competing and I'm just like in the gym, high reps, get big, get large, like smash everybody in the gym, which you shouldn't be doing anyway. But I'm saying, right, high reps is going to give you that. You're going to be heavier. You know, you might get tired. You'll be able to like stall a little bit. If you're going to compete, then high reps, I would say stay a little bit more lean. You'll be faster. Yes. I don't know about like the lactic acid with big muscles and stuff like that. Like you want to be lean, you want to be trim, you want to be fast, you want to carry a little less weight if you have to for your frame. So that's how I would say it. So okay, so we have another question. It says this obscene cuisine. That's the Instagram handle. He said, my question for Steven: what does he think will be the next big revolution in jiu-jitsu or MMA? And by revolution, I mean things like how the rear naked chokes went from pushing behind the head with the non-choking hand to hiding it behind the back, right? So we're talking about like, you know, going like this versus, you know, putting it on your shoulder.
Like that's a real subtle thing,
Yeah, but I'm not asking him about subs in particular. Can be anything from takedowns, sweeps, escapes. So what do you think the next big revolution is?
I think something that should be utilized that's not getting utilized is cradles. I think when you're getting into fights where there's no you're sweating and whatnot, I think the use of cradles is a really strong tool for you to slow the pace of the match down, make your opponent less athletic, and then slowly start to work your game. And I've had this discussion at length with Danaher, and he's never verbalized this publicly, I don't think. But I've been, even before I got back in there with him, like I was huge into using cradles and teaching those. I have my own system for cradles that work well for MMA.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, slightly more sophisticated, is I'm a huge fan of Oshiro X guards or leg entanglements where your head is positioned behind their back for MMA. So they say leg locks don't work. Well, one is you're going for outside ashigarami positions with your foot on the hip. Yeah, he's going to peel the heel. I'm going to smash your head in. But if you bring that foot across the hip, you create reaps. You turn the orientation of his upper body. It's harder for him to strike you. But we can do one better. We can create leg entanglements where a head, and we call those Oshiro positions, where my head is positioned towards his back. That gives me backside attacks for leg locks, but it also gives me off balances where I can play from there with my head. If you can visualize an X guard where my head's behind his heel, as opposed to in front of his foot and shin, that gives me the ability to now attack my legs, wrestle up, sweep, but not have the fucking downside of like, he might just crush my head in.
Right.
Exactly right. So I would say that Oshiro oriented or rear X guard leg entanglement positions and the use of the cradle right off the top of my head.
I raised my hand with cradles because I've been using cradles a lot. I hadn't for really a long time, but we do we do a lot of Z guard and lockdown. And like my coach has a really good little system from lockdown to like to a sweep, once like letting the lockdown go and then sweeping. So it involves like, right, you got to kind of dive under. You're gonna grab a leg, maybe you get really close. So I just started going, oh wow, your head and your knee are really close, and doing cradles from there, and then they wind up letting something go, and then I just put a little bit of weight on them and then push them over, and then now I'm inside control. So I've been using it a lot lately because of that. Not that I did it all the time, but I did wrestle a little bit in junior high, and I feel like even though that's like feels like such a long time ago, I still use some of those little things, just little tidbits, and a cradle is one of them. And I've been doing, and some of my training partners are like, what the fuck? Like they don't realize what's going on because now all of a sudden they're stuck. They're trying to like extend and extend the, now they can't extend the leg and keep the lockdown. Love it. Cradles are like one of my favorite things. I love the cradle.
The cradle from Z guard's cool because if he overextends to try to break your grip, he gives you half guard. Yep. If he stays balled up, you backstep and pass the side control. So you got a good system going. Yeah. It's awesome.
I love it. So, all right, those are the two questions that I picked. We had a couple more, but again, they usually fall into general. I don't know if we were doing this when you were with us originally, but
we weren't.
We do this. We have a segment called
The Drill Down.
That's our super, our sound effects. So we have like some of the general questions that people ask. I probably had a couple. We didn't call it the drill down. I probably did this with you. So I'm just going to go down kind of like some of the most frequently asked questions. And, we can go a little faster through these, or you can elaborate, completely up to you. So preference, gi or no gi?
I train more no-gi at this stage in my life, but I think as I get older, I trained at a time where you had to do gi to get your black belt. So I'm a gi trained athlete, but I've kind of moved away from it as I've gotten older. But I think it's going to be a full circle situation where as I get older, I'll probably train more gi and slow things down a little bit.
Takedown or pull guard?
Takedown.
Yep. Music during rolling, yes or no?
I'm a musician. I can't pivot the fucking computer, but I got a nice Jaguar sitting right there. Fender Jaguar. But no, I turn it off. I like to have my senses fully engaged in the process.
Yeah.
For me.
Oh.
See, I love.
I didn't expect that.
We did an open mat last night, and it was funny because he doesn't like on the weekends. My coach will put the music on a little bit louder, like it's usually because we have like a little bit instruction, but then on open mat, so it's usually like 2 hours. Hour of drilling and then an hour of just an open mat.
Now during my classes, I would put music on a lot of the time.
Okay.
Very low. So it's not that I wouldn't do it for a class. It's just for me, if I'm going into a room, I have a weird perspective on the way I like to train.
Last night, man, he was playing like some freaking dance music and some Brazilian like electronic music. I was loving it. I love it. I love it. And I've always said like I like when if it's a song that I know and like I know the words. If I'm in an advantageous position, or even just I joke around when I always talk when I'm rolling. I'm always joking around, whether I'm getting my ass beat or I'm beating somebody. Like I'm talking, I'm joking, I'm saying something. So I love when it's a song, especially if it's like an uncomfortable song for a grown man to be singing to another grown man while you're like on his back. I love those, and just like to start to sing the words.
I love it. Yeah.
It makes everybody uncomfortable. And honestly, like there's a little part of it when I'm talking during a roll that throws people off, and they lose. They're like, "What is he saying?" And then like they're concentrating on the words and not on where we are.
WAP.
So kind of like mess with them a little bit.
It works.
You're singing WAP behind them.
Do you are you still you're putting out content? Are you watching a lot of stuff? Do you watch like instructionals? Do you watch jiu-jitsu videos? Are you looking at what other people are doing for your training, or do you not watch other people's stuff, or is it more research now than anything for your own content?
It's more peripheral for me. I'll see someone's stuff if I think like usually a lot of time it's wrestling more than jiu-jitsu, but I'll see cool stuff. I saw Lachlan Giles doing something recently that I liked. But yeah, I'm not like outwardly going for it. A lot of what I'm doing is, what I learned from my instructors. We go and we study the past, and then we try to apply that to problems that we're maybe facing now in martial arts and just reconstruct it in a way that's applicable. So I have a different approach to it. But again, peripherally, I'll see stuff. If I like it, I'll drill it.
Do you have anybody like favorite people that you watch or favorite competitors that you like to watch? If they're I know you said before, like who's really putting out great content? Is there anybody that you would watch?
Competitors?
Competitors or content creators that are putting out stuff like, oh wow, I can really learn something from that person. Let's say without putting Danaher into that mix.
Danaher. Damn it, man. I don't really like, I don't see a lot of stuff that I like in the space, but I will say, what was the first part of that question? I want to give you a good answer.
Well, I was going to say, are you watching content? Do you watch jiu-jitsu content? Do you watch MMA content for anything other than research, for enjoyment, or like, oh wow, I really like that move. Let me go try that in the gym.
I just don't see anything good, man, when I watch it. I don't see anything fun and exciting and novel. I see cool moves.
Is it kind of like an accountant doesn't want to go home and do math?
I've also been around for a very long time.
Yeah. Say that again?
I've been around for a very long time. So I'm a little jaded.
Yeah. And it's funny. I mean, you've trained with like the guy I don't want to say he inspired. It definitely inspired the way, I guess, instructionals are done now. Like when you're talking about systematizing things. I mean, that's Danaher, right? I mean, was anybody 100%. Really systematizing it? Do this, do that, like explaining it. I do like to hear, like I know people joke with Danaher a little bit here and there, like, oh God, those Danaher videos, it's like a 12-hour instructional. Like, it's cut in, and a lot of it is him talking and explaining. I actually like that. I don't want to just know how to do something. I want to know why. Like when you talk about breaking mechanics, or like this is where the move came from. It's a way for me to digest the information and kind of catalog it a little bit better. It's like when I listen to a song, I might hear a song and I'm just like, but then I see the video. And then I'm like, oh, and then somebody goes, my daughter might be like, oh, you know why she made that song? Because she was in a relationship with this guy and he blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
and
context is important.
Right. Like but now I remember the artist, the name of the song. I start remembering the words. I don't change it when it's on the radio because now I'm consuming it a little bit differently because I have all that context. It's the same way with jiu-jitsu moves. Like if you give me a little bit more explanation and we're talking about it a little bit longer, I can digest it. And again, my mind will catalog it differently. I guess it's like the whole like hearing something, listening to something and watching something, right? You can learn better if you're, like reading it, watching it, and hearing somebody explain it versus just here's this book on how to do it, right?
Yeah,
you have multiple senses, right? So and that's the way I like to learn. So I watch a lot of stuff. Most of the time, it's just like I'm not really going to YouTube and like watching instructionals. I go to YouTube to watch, like maybe see what a guest is up to, maybe because I'm going to have them on and I want to see if they've had other podcasts or what's new in their life. But most of the time, I'm following them on Instagram, so like I'll see it through there. But I do love Brendan McCatherine. I think his stuff is super on point. I get other people have kind of done variations, but he does the 1 minute jiu-jitsu hack. So hey, like making my jiu-jitsu better versus teaching me a move in like a long format. Mm-hmm. I love when he shows me something like, hey, when you're doing your lockdown, hey, if you do this, like that's what I like. So I like consuming him in those smaller bits, partially because again, the whole way that I learn, I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want you to tell me about it. But then I also want to do it. Then I have to go train, like do it.
But you're not a fanboy.
Yeah, unless I'm sitting with like a training partner, it's really hard, or have a good, a jiu-jitsu grappling dummy. It's hard for me to watch an instructional without like literally having my partner next to me, like, all right, dude, let's try that. Let's do that and see where it is. Right? I don't learn like that. So I like the what would you call it? Micro content. Like I like the smaller stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So ultimate goal, like I usually ask people, what's your ultimate goal in the world of jiu-jitsu and MMA? I'd like to know what's your ultimate goal with what you're doing. I think you maybe touched on it before about like selling kind of the properties, but what is your ultimate goal in this world of content creation and jiu-jitsu in the MMA world? What are you thinking?
I brought up that AI stuff and what I'm doing underneath that as just a means to hopefully help people in the space monetize and think outside of the scope of I have to be this person because I like jiu-jitsu. So that was, I wasn't even going to bring that up, but that's good value. But realistically, none of that is my life goal. My life goal is 100% to build the man that I want to be, to build the man that I'm proud of and give him to the world, offer him off. All I want to do. That's all I think about. I get up every single day about how can I. If you watch my stories, you'll see that I'm really the guy that I'm saying I am. I wake up every day. I'm accountable to my people. I answer every single DM. When I was going through that big growth before my injury, I didn't answer a single DM. I didn't even talk to my friends on DM. They had to text me. I was completely isolated. I learned so much about myself. My whole goal is to give everything away. And any jiu-jitsu guys were like, well, I don't want to give too much away. No one's going to buy your shit anyway. This is how you get people to buy your stuff. You got to give away all the information, but sell the implementation. So for me, I'm 100% giving away myself to the world every single day to become a better boyfriend, a better son, a better man. And I'm going to do that till I die. I'm going to master my habits until I die. Everything else, I don't give a fuck about. It's a byproduct.
Talk to me about it when you talk about answering every DM. Excuse me. Sometimes it could, I'm on way smaller following than you. And it gets difficult. It's not difficult to answer somebody, but it's difficult when that turns into a conversation and a back and forth. It gets a little hard. And maybe for me, it's like, this is one of my jobs. I have a marketing company that I run. Yeah. And then I have, has become part of the business. The way that it's become part of the marketing company is that sponsors have become clients and clients have become sponsors. Unintended consequence. You have a podcast? Mm-hmm. Hey, what does it cost? Hey, can I do that? Can we put the thing? Yep. And blah, 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 and then vice versa. Hey, I'm sponsoring the podcast. Oh, you build websites? Hey, could you help us with our website? And then that happens, right? But like, again, unintended, but it definitely it has happened.
But how do I get to those people? Like, how do I? How do you does it turn like? My point there was like, I don't feel like I have time in the day to wind up having conversation, like a little heart on something. Sometimes as impersonal as I feel that is, I give them the heart, let them know that I saw the content that they sent me or the comment that they sent. Is that not enough? Am I doing a disservice to my listener or to the follower? This is what I do, and I suggest a lot of you guys do this. And you look at my comments. I don't answer a lot of people back in my comments because it's like, oh, the white guy's beating up the black guy, and they make it racial. It's like, dude, you're a simpleton. I'm not engaging in that content, in that comment. But people will DM me stuff, and they'll send me a reel and say some really low IQ statement about the reel. Whatever they want to share, it's coming from a good place. I don't answer those.
Yeah,
you know. So just to be clear, but I got people that are talking to me about how to improve in this way. How did I get to where I am mentally, physically? Those things. I got an email, I got a DM the other day about a person who this individual loved very closely committed suicide. I get those more than you guys would realize about, like, because people feel like they can open up. They think they know you, similar to what we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast. So my whole thing is this: I'm going to make the time for those people. I'm always thinking, I don't give a fuck about myself. I take care of myself in the morning so that I can be there for who I need to be there for. I'm autopilot. Like this experience talking to you has been great. We've been going for 2 hours. I'll go for another 5, and I'll just keep going because I'm in flow state. I'm not thinking about Steven. I'm thinking about the listener. Mm-hmm. And I just try to do that every day, Milton, as purely as I possibly can from the bottom of my heart. I just want to help people, because every time in my life, most of it, where I didn't give people what I know I could have given them because I'm a selfish, self-driven, A-type personality with a big mouth and a lot of ego, I was miserable. My life went to shit, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was miserable. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give it all away. And I've been as happy as a pig in shit since then. So I answer those damn DMs if they deserve my answer.
I had this conversation with my daughter yesterday, and I'll just say this part. I won't go into the whole conversation, but we were talking about, like, basically like power of the secret, or really karma, like putting out good energy.
Yes.
And I said, I'm going to knock on wood right now. I'm big, but I'm like, don't jinx yourself by talking about something. But I told her, good things happen to me when I treat other people well. With the business, we over deliver for every client. She's like, but they're not paying for that, right? Like I'm training her, so she's new in the marketing world. She's 30 years old.
Right,
she's a teacher. She's new in the marketing world, so I'm telling her, I'm like, no, I'm never going to have a client come back and be like, oh, but you didn't do this. I'm like, that never happens. But at the same time, I'm never going to give them the opportunity to be like, oh, but you fucked this thing up. When I'm like, hey, remember when I gave you those free cards and the free postcards and the business cards and the this, and we redid all of your cover photos for all your social media when it's not included in your program? We over-deliver because they wind up giving you a referral. They're just appreciative of it. And I don't do it just like, I said, you can't do something to be like, okay, universe, what are you going to give me back? You do it because it's the right thing to do and it's a good thing to do. And you wind up getting rewarded. And I told her, I had a conversation with somebody else, and I explained this to her. I said, I never quote rappers. I said, but, and I couldn't give you the exact quote, but Kanye West, I think it's in the song Click, he says something along the lines of, all this time I've been asking God for stuff, and like he's thinking like God is not paying attention to me. And then I look around at my life and I go, oh, he's been paying attention to me all this time, right? I just elaborated on Kanye's line, but I said that's the way that I look at stuff now. Again, this is like post-heart attack. My mindset definitely changed after that. Now I'm like, I want to live a good life. I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not scared of dying. I was in bed, like, what's going on, laughing with people were walking into my room going, you're laughing. How bad could this be? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not in pain. I had a heart, but I wasn't like, it wasn't painful. So it felt like somebody was sitting on my chest for an hour, and then it went away. And then it was like, you just had a heart attack and you're 80% clogged. Like, we got to go in there and put stents, right? So like, I told her that though. Like I said that, I'm like, basically you need to be appreciative of what you have, and know that sometimes when you're going like, oh fuck man, this thing is bothering me, I'm like, just remember about all the other good things that are happening in your life, and look at the life that you have. She was a teacher. She now works from home, makes her own hours. She goes to the gym in the middle of the day. She's just like, the only downside is like she doesn't have summers off anymore. She's been like away for like 5 weekends this summer where it was just like off on Friday, like took the weekend, did a little bit of work on the road. I'm like, look at your life. I want that for you. I want you to, but you have to give that out to the universe and show your appreciation. You can't just be upset about the thing that you don't have, so that's how I explain it to her. But I'm a big believer in that. What you're
so many
saying
people
is like,
are paying karmic debt constantly.
give, give until it hurts. I tell her, my personal life, if I have a dime, my friend has a nickel. Like, that's the way I think you have to be. It may be like, my friend needs it. Like, if I have a dime, my friend has a dime. You could almost say, if I have a dime, my friend has a nickel. I will give you the shirt off my back. I've learned that from other people that have done things for me. But if I believe if you operate in that way, then things that, like, the universe rewards good people. They say like nice guys finish last. I don't believe that. I think the universe rewards people when you're being good or you're good to other people without expecting a reward. It winds up coming, and you might not always realize. Sometimes we need a brick house to fall on us, but you got to remember the little things. Like, I tell her, like, you're working from home. You're going to the gym. When she goes to the gym in the middle of the day and she tells me that, I'm like, I smile. I'm like, it's nice, isn't it? It's nice to just take off an hour or two or go work with your friend at a Starbucks and sit and chat while you guys are working on your computers because you both have this freedom. Remember that stuff when you're thinking about, like, oh, I don't have this, or I can't go here, or I don't have enough money, right? Think about those things. So I absolutely preach that. Give till it hurts, and worry about yourself last, because it will come back.
People need to figure that out. Karmic debt is a real thing, and we live our lives and we do things that are, not necessarily conducive to the person we want to become. And we wonder why our lives in shambles, or our health's in shambles, or, things of that nature.
Boom.
It's so important. And this has been I'm reiterating this over and over in the podcast, but so much of this is like building the man or the woman, because you may have obviously some female jiu-jitsu players, building that person up every single day, meticulously, 7 days a week. And then karma really kicks in, because you don't want to do anything but help people, because you've done so much to help yourself. And that's when that karmic wheel starts to kick in for the better. Yeah. But you can win all the fights you want, by the way. You can go win worlds tomorrow and still be a piece of shit who like treats his girlfriend like garbage and is just a real toxic person because you haven't fixed the things that need to be fixed. I
was the unhappiest in my life at the job that I made the most money I ever made. I was making close to $200,000 a year. People were like, "You're leaving that job," and I'm like, "I'm miserable." Yeah. My last year I made $186,000 in my last year at that job, and I was miserable. I hated my life. I opened a T-shirt company. I started working from home. We were putting out funny T-shirts. It was so much fun to just be sitting there laughing all day about the ideas that we were coming up with. Yeah, I hated my life at that job. And things went down, but I learned so much from that stuff. Like, I left this job. I wasn't making the money. The T-shirt company didn't take off. But I wound up learning, and here if it wasn't for that, me leaving that job, I would not be here right now. I might not have ever started jiu-jitsu. I might not have ever done so many of the things that I'm doing. I just wouldn't be here. And life is good. But I'm not like counting, oh, this is good, this is good, this is bad. Like, now it's just like, you're just living and be good, and those bad things will turn into good things at some point. Does that make sense?
And you knew, it makes complete sense. You knew right there that job that you were doing, even though it was paying you a boatload of money, wasn't in direct alignment with who you are as a person. And so there was a disconnect, there was no congruence, and you were in pain. So you left it. But the universe is crazy. There's always compression and expansion. And that's what your online career is going to be. That's what your jiu-jitsu career is going to be, your money making. And what you just said, it went down for a while, but then it started to come back up. And guess what? It'll go down again. Yeah. But as long as you're raising that watermark gradually over time, you're going to be you're going to be happier than you were with that big paying job. But also you're going to be a more defined, nuanced person.
You got to learn. You do have to learn from like in jiu-jitsu. I guess let's take it back to jiu-jitsu when we say you don't lose, you learn. I mean, that goes to the same thing in what I just described. I lost, and in the moment I didn't know that I was learning. I was just like, fuck this, like, fuck my life. Like, I had somebody hand me the DVD, the 1 hour DVD or 1 hour or so of The Secret. It changed my life because I realized the energy that I was putting out was the energy that I was getting back. If you're an asshole, you're probably going to have asshole friends, right?
100%.
Or, if you're a good person, you're probably going to be attract good people. There's another way somebody else puts it, like you are the, what's the word, not collection, but if you show me your three best friends,
your 5 closest, exactly.
Right. Like, you are the closest friends you have. Like, you are made up of the people that you keep around you. So if you hang out with a bunch of assholes, you're probably also an asshole. You're not the good guy in that group of assholes. Yeah. You hang out with good people, you're probably a good person, right?
No, you become one.
I mean, it's just like, I'm only surrounded by jiu-jitsu people. Other than Bo, I think Bo is the only non-jiu-jitsu person that I speak to, and he's involved with this, so he's like guilt by association.
He's a
jiu-jitsu guy because because he does the podcast. But
I'm peripheral.
my world is surrounded by everybody that I talk to is some way, shape, or form related to jiu-jitsu. My wife
it's true,
does
man.
do jiu-jitsu, you know?
What you said is spot on. I think the ancients already knew it, but the universe is a mirror. It reflects your external world is a reflection of your internal state. So, like you said, if you're a piece of shit, your friends are a piece of shit. But this is the funniest thing. They're always like, Tom's a dick, right? Tom's a real asshole. And they think they're like the righteous one. It's like, no, motherfucker. You're just as bad, if not worse. And you're just ignorant to the fact. But that's why, guys, clean up your shit. Get your accountability. Get yourself clean.
I'm never pointing that finger like, that guy's an asshole. I never say like, that guy's an asshole. I'm just like, okay.
To me all the time. No,
that guy, in my mind, I might think that guy's an asshole. So instead of telling everybody that he's an asshole, I'm just like, well, I'm just not going to associate with that person. I'm going to be over here.
Yeah.
You know, so. All right, listen, we're going to end it there. Oh, wait, we got to ask you the most important question that we always ask.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, I don't know if you remember, we always talk about this. Do you know the I think you know the question.
I know, it's coming.
Do you or do you not wash your jiu-jitsu belt?
Now, just to be clear, for a lot of my years coming up, I did not wash my jiu-jitsu belt. I did not. But you got to grow up, guys. You got to mature. And do I wash it every single time I train? Of course not. I'm not a psychopath. But what I will do is, it starts to get a little rancid and it starts to get damp. Yeah, but I'm going to do one better because everyone knows the answer or they don't know the answer. But let me tell you something. This is what you guys got to start doing. Clean your fucking jiu-jitsu bags, you filthy animals. Clean your bags. Because here's the thing. Staph infection is brewing in that thing. And I know so many people like, I cleaned my gi. And then you put it back in the bag that has all the bacteria in it.
We got something.
So your shit is completely washed. And you need to wash your shit.
Early on in the podcast, we had this company send us these things. We wanted them to be like, it was early on. So we were like, hey, give us some money too. Like, sponsor us. I still have it. I still use it. It's called the Stinky Bag. They have different sizes.
Yeah.
It has a zipper at the top and a zipper at the bottom. You open it up. I put this facts. When I leave jiu-jitsu, when I come off the mat, I take my gi top and my belt and I put it in that bag. Sometimes I change. Sometimes I leave my gi pants on, jump in the car. I actually put a towel down and I jump in the car and I go home and then I take it all. That Stinky Bag, I close the zipper on the top, but when you open the one on the bottom, this mesh bag falls out and there's your stuff. I usually take the gi top out, but I'll leave in like if I have a knee brace, like a knee brace, my belt, so that when I do wash it, I wash it in there. Especially like if you're washing like with gi shorts and things like that. So like I always hang everything to dry, but like I maybe throw in something with Velcro on it, or my wife has her boxing wraps. And they have the Velcro on it, so putting it in that bag, it doesn't get stuck to everything, but you just wash it right in that bag. So for like the smaller stuff that I put in there, I leave that in the bag. I always take the gi top out because it's folded up. It's not going to get really clean in my mind, so I throw that out. But that's what I at least take it home like that. So then I take that whole bag and put it inside of my gym bag, so it's actually clean. So I still like that. They didn't sponsor the show, but Stinky Bag, check them out. It's kind of cool. They came out like during COVID, I think is when they picked up. At least that's when we got with them, because they were like scrubs. They were telling doctors and nurses, use this bag, put your scrubs in there. If you're leaving, if you're changing at work, put your scrubs in there, and then just throw the whole thing in the wash, so that you're not handling that when you get home or bringing that into the house, and keeping your stuff on. Put all your scrubs in the bag, and then just plop the whole bag in there. So anyway, all right, so.
They just got free promotion. You guys better start paying.
Yeah, right. Let's do it, man. So,
thank you.
I don't know. Are you working with anybody? So I always give the guests a little bit of time. If you want to shout out anybody, say hello to anybody, sponsors, thank anybody. This is your time.
Yeah, well, you guys know I'm on Steven Strangles all over the place, or Steven Strangles people. I have a newsletter called the Fight IQ Report. It's completely free. I put out both psychological, the mental components and aspects of not just fighting, but being in life in general, being specifically catered towards men. I also obviously cover the physical side of techniques and whatnot. I think you're going to hear me be real humble right now, but I believe I have one of the best newsletters in the fight game. And yeah, give it a look.
I saw it on your Instagram when I pulled it up. If they go to your Instagram, click on your link tree, and it's right there. They can get over to your YouTube, see your latest videos, but it also had the link
Fight
to the
IQ report.
Fight IQ report.
And I also give you guys free ebooks. I got like a free Mike Tyson ebook, and I got so much cool stuff, free value, just giving it away. So check it out.
All right, brother. Don't hang up. I'm going to come take some pictures with you by the screen real quick for promo and for the announcements that we put out. But I appreciate you coming on again, man. Thank you. It's always a pleasure. You're always welcome. We're going to be, again, we at this studio. If you were down here in Florida, you can come into this studio right now until August. I think we shoot at the other one. The first podcast is on the 8th. But if you ever come down to Florida, we're in Boca. Try to come down. We'll do one in studio. It'd be really fun. It'd be kind of cool. You'll see the new studio. It's always a different vibe when you're sitting next to the guests.
Course.
You know.
Yeah, but, we got to get that.
You're always welcome here, brother. I appreciate you and thank you for doing this again, man.
Thank you, Milton.
All right,
Thanks
brother.
for having me.
All right,
Hang
out.
Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at thebjjbox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD. All right.
All right, man. Very cool.
Dude, he's really cool, man. He's so smart. He's really, really smart.
Yeah.
He understands so many aspects, not just the sport.
The business side of this.
But what he's done with developing his content shit.
Yeah.
Dude, he's figured out. This is like going to Vegas and figuring out like the formula to winning at roulette tables or something, which is impossible. Yeah. Usually you got to go find a mentor.
Yeah.
To help you with content production and what are the steps? What's that secret? He figured it out.
Well, I love having him on. He was the reason why we got onto TikTok. So I take his advice and what he says to heart. So
he's
so
legit.
Thank you again, Stephen, for coming on. Where are we? Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
High value guy, man. I recommend our audience go follow him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Was it at Stephen Strangles People?
Yep, we'll have it up on the screen.
Yeah, we'll have it up, and I think he also has maybe some of his pages are Steven Strangles, but I know his Instagram and his YouTube are both Steven Strangles
pretty
People.
Easy to find, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for watching and listening. You can check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram. We're on Thread now. Threads? Is it Thread or Threads?
Yeah.
We're on Threads now. You can basically find us anywhere at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. Our YouTube is at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast. Our TikTok is also Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast. But you can check us out. Click the link in the bio. You can see you have links to all of our sponsors, different ways you can support the show if you wanted to. Everything is there, so go check us out. My personal Instagram, if you want to have a conversation with me, is Uncle Milty BJJ. I'm really I've got a Facebook as well, but I'm really Instagram is where I'm doing most of my conversations, especially when it comes to the podcast. But Uncle Milty BJJ, Bo
at BADWERKS on IG, and
all right.
And if you want to find me on Facebook, I'm Bo Askew, ASCIU.
Okay.
So BOASCIU.
Perfect.
Yep.
There you go. Thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu. Look, I didn't have to Look at that. To read. I finally got it. 121 episodes.